Mother Nature?
We're getting things ready for everyone to head out camping again.
People should go to leechcamper.com and check out the inventory.
And don't forget,
the coffee's always on.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for our 12th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let Blur Events take care of all the work so you can enjoy the day. Plus, we're just steps away from Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/radio and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
1620 The Zone.
Final seconds tick away, and there's the horn. It took 7 games, but the road team has finally won. The Indiana Pacers advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in a decade, and they'll head straight to Boston to face the Celtics beginning Tuesday night.
Conley picks the pocket of Jamal Murray. Conley feeds it to Nas, down the lane, extra pass to the corner. He accepts himself, fires the three. He hits it! It's 92-82. The Wolves lead by 10. Nuggets won't foul here with 7 on the shot clock. Conley left angle, drives on Michael Porter Jr., runs it up. No, slam follow. Karl Anthony Towns. He soared in from the wing. The Wolves win Game 6. They win Game 7. And to the huge throng of Timberwolves fans behind their bench, what a win for the Wolves on the road in Game 7. Unbelievable.
I mean, it showed us who we are because the coaches believed in us. Even though at halftime, even in the third, we was down 20. They just keep making runs. And it showed us who we are, man. Once we really lock in on the defensive end, because offensively we played okay. But once we really lock in on the defensive end, man, we're a hell of a team to beat.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine.
I just read a tweet. This was tweeted at me after I'd gone to bed last night from a good friend of mine who lives in Denver. He said, Timberwolves deserve a lot of credit. That being said, I'm no longer following sports and joining a convent. Wow, that's what sports will do to you.
Been there.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the crappy weather yesterday. So you didn't have to go outside and mow the lawn. Don't worry. It's rained enough around here in the last couple of weeks. You have to mow the lawn like 3 times a day.
Yep.
But the weather was crappy enough yesterday that it forced you to stay inside. That honey-do list that your wife gave you or your significant other or things that were on the ledger, like let's go to Dairy Chef in Elkhorn and stand in line and get a cone to kick off summer. You had to stay inside, and you had a 5-screen day of sports. What a day yesterday. That was, we had drama, we had swag, we had newbies that were entering the scene. We had edge of the couch stuff. I will say that I kind of like my Sunday. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I hope you got to partake in a little enjoyment of a Sunday.
I did.
The Sunday sermon that was sports.
We had,
how about that?
After 81 holes of golf since Thursday, watched more golf when I got back.
And you didn't get arrested, right?
No, we're kind of out in a. I feel like we're in our own little community where we probably have to govern ourselves anyway. So nothing bad like that happened. And then my dad, who turned 80 on Friday, we had a big
happy
celebration.
birthday to him.
Yes, he had a big celebration with family and friends yesterday. So got to go to that, watching a little golf, catching just a little bit of Knicks Pacers, but then it was turning the attention to last night with the Denver and Minnesota game. So, yeah. And then, of course, this is what we do after each round is we're watching either hockey or we're watching Dallas won Saturday night, which was awesome too. That was a fun game. So yeah, between the golf and a lot of drinking, I can tell you that we never found the bottom of those bottomless
nice job.
beers. So it was good. It was good.
Who in your golfing group is the Dan Marino? Because Dan Marino of golf won a major yesterday.
The Dan Marino of golf.
All right, elite golfer, always in contention,
yep.
Never wins. You can only control your narrative. Like yesterday also was like control your own narrative.
Yeah.
Whether it be Omaha softball people going, oh, man.
Yeah.
No, they've controlled their own narrative. They're on the map. Unfortunately, it didn't work out in Columbia.
Yeah.
We'll talk a lot about that. But you had Karl Anthony Towns. His narrative had been, you suck.
Yep.
Okay. And in big
unreliable
games, you don't show up and you were supposed to be the face of the franchise. And he might have had one of his better games last night. And he just saved it for game 7. And then you have Schauffele, who, you can only control your own narrative. I call him the Dan Marino of golf because he's been elite. He's always in contention. Like he starts.
Everybody picks him as the Masters winner.
He starts fast and he fades on the weekend.
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of like some people's sex life. Okay. But with Schauffele,
not the mentality.
That read is next
he
hour.
is like the man, and he's been in contention. And finally, yesterday, he broke through with a hell of an up and down in 17 and 18.
Yeah.
And he held off a villain.
Yeah.
So, the Dan Marino of golf finally has got himself a title.
I like that comparison. Yeah, probably the last 3 or 4 Masters that I remember, a lot of people will have Xander Schauffele in their foursome or in one of their sleeper picks. Any major in the last couple of years, everyone's putting Xander Schauffele in there, and it makes sense because he has every bit of the game, whether you're talking about a course where you're going to be rewarded because you drive. Course that you're able to kind of maneuver and shot shape. He has all that. And given what he came off of last week where he was phenomenal, and then Rory just happened to fire a 65 on Sunday to best him. Yeah, you're wondering, okay, you're in a similar position as you were just a week ago, and you've got a pretty impressive field right behind you. How you're going to hold those guys off. And you mentioned 17 and 18 and that last putt too, which I'm glad they gave us the angle of the putter, the hole in the ball. I love that, especially on a putt like that, that's for it all. And to see that thing look like it was going to attack the outside cup and it just rolled right in. I don't normally feel bad for Bryson DeChambeau, and I want to get to him in a moment.
He's back.
I sort of felt bad for him because you're watching that on a big monitor while you're over in the driving range and trying to hope that we'll see another playoff in the PGA Championship like we have, it was 2 years ago in Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
So it was obviously what he did, shooting to 64 DeChambeau, that is, to put himself there, possibly to force that playoff. Guy played amazing. And the thing I wanted to say about him real quickly is I was talking to a couple of guys that I know, because I'm not Mike Schaefer, Michael Bruntz, myself. I think we lead the charge here locally with the local media of our dislike for Bryson DeChambeau. I've had a couple people, and this was brought up a lot over the weekend. People are starting to come back around on him.
Oh,
because he seems less douchey.
You know why he's less douchey? Because his golf game has improved.
It is.
Hey, he is the villain. He's what golf needs. He's not boring. And he actually, I don't know, he's overcome some things, and his personality is starting to shine through. He's got a YouTube channel.
Yes.
He's really good on.
And that's what people are bringing up, his lessons and everything.
Yeah.
People were speaking very highly. I've never watched it because, again, I'm not anything Bryson DeChambeau I usually stay away from, but the YouTube channel is what a lot of these guys were bringing up.
Yeah, and his golf game has become a little bit more well-rounded. He's not just this big, bulky guy who, he went through that stretch where it's like, wow, what are we doing?
Yeah.
No, I might be changing my tune on him, because how would you like to do what he did and you lose a major?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it would have been his second major, but this just shows you yesterday, Schauffele to go wire to wire, in a place where there was little wind and there were soft greens, so the scores were high, and we'll have to discuss Valhalla. But you're a 54-hole leader, and you still have to go 6 under to win. That shows you how great the top of the leaderboard was. But it also shows you, I mean, Schauffele was a dude, and I'm glad for him. I think he missed out on an opportunity, though, yesterday. You know, some people are wondering, man, did the golf world have a guy that wears a swim shirt win a title? Which they did. But I really think that as he was throwing flowers everybody's way, he should have thanked the authorities. That would have been the way to top off a crazy
I want to think
4 days of
I want to think the Louisville's finest
at Valhalla. That's what he
well,
should
that
have
was
done.
breaking when you guys were on the air on Friday.
Oh, my
I
friend.
can only imagine
My
how much
friend.
fun that was.
Hey.
It's on the radio replay.
Hey. Yeah. I felt bad for Matt Foster. He was like, we have all this stuff we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden at 6:05, Scheffler is arrested.
And then you see him in a mugshot about an hour later.
And it now sounds like those charges are going to be dropped, which is the right thing to do. Also, the right thing, man, he did not win. And he played Friday on adrenaline. And then things kicked in on Saturday. And he tried to rally on Sunday. But, I mean, again, that's where Schauffele should have thanked the authorities and said, hey, if you don't arrest Scotty, man, I'm not holding this trophy. But kudos to Scheffler because through it all, he diffused the situation. He had some really good interaction when he got back to the course and throughout the weekend with law enforcement. And also, he did every interview. Like, he did not shy away from it. He sat down after every round, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and did interviews. And you know it's going to come up. And it sounds like with some holes in the case and some miscommunication, misunderstanding, that the charges are going to be dropped, and rightfully so. But, man, I already respected Scotty Scheffler. I got a whole nother level of respect the way he handled it because he could have really made the situation worse. But he diffused it, and he was super cool about it.
He's honest about it.
And I think that went a long way. But what a weird weekend of golf.
Yeah.
That was a weird weekend.
So our tee times every day was at 7:00. So we were leaving our cottage, and all of a sudden we're seeing this breaking news, and we're seeing him. Yeah, it's not as fancy as
For their gnomes.
sounds.
No.
No.
No,
But
you can't say we were in a cottage.
They
and
call
it's-
them cottages.
But you can't say
It's like a cabin, man. Let's.
Okay.
I've been to
All
a
right.
cabin. That's a
Butler?
cabin, not that cabin.
Dudes in a cabin.
We had
That'd be a great podcast name.
trust me. I think after our rounds, it'd make for a really good podcast. There's one guy in particular that he is Iowa's version. He's Waterloo, Iowa's version of Larry the Cable Guy. The way he talks, and his name is Duger. And I mean, just a guy with a nickname of Duger, you know he's going to be a good time.
Writing its own.
But we were leaving, and we're like,
You guys
"Is
talk
that
about
Scotty
the poll question
Scheffler?"
last
Because
week?
we would have ESPN or whatever on every morning, and as we're leaving, we're seeing Scotty Scheffler being taken away into a police car. We're like, "What the hell just happened?" And so on the first couple of holes, I got some friends that are texting me like, "You see the Scotty Scheffler stuff?" So we're getting up to date to it. The thing about and I'm not surprised by this with Scotty Scheffler, is he was very, I don't know what the hell's going on. He was very honest and open about that too. But then I'm thinking, like, how many times as a new father, I mean, this is his first week of being a new father, have you all of a sudden had a mugshot in like a couple days later? I mean,
you should see where I grew up.
I mean, what a week for Scotty Scheffler. And you're right, he was pretty damn good on Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, he was pretty damn good, but he addressed everything. He was honest about it. I think even the way the story is playing out, and I know Darlington was like right there on the scene, seeing everything that was going on, that there was obviously a lot of confusion on his part of not knowing truly the gravity of the situation and knowing what was security as opposed to what was actually law enforcement. I don't know. The fact that he went out and he shot the way he did on Friday, he showed Saturday that he's human.
Yeah, it was. You know what he showed? Life as a free man is tough. You know, anybody that has done time when they're out, I mean, that transition is not easy. That's why they have a lot of resources.
Halfway house and
yeah, everybody should feel bad for Scotty. A free man.
Poor rich
just didn't
white
know
guy.
what to do. Just didn't know what to do with those next 48 hours.
It's one of the craziest sports stories in a long time. And Scheffler, whatever happened, the misunderstanding, now you have no body cam footage.
Right.
it seemed like the Louisville police on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday out on the course were having a good time with him.
Mhm.
So it leads me to believe that maybe the officer is not the most popular person.
Yeah.
But it's
Please don't sue.
It's going to be dropped, and we can just move on.
Yeah. Scotty's not a felon.
Yeah, but
And Scotty does
again.
now.
I think he handled it perfectly.
Yeah.
He diffused the situation. He could have ignited it, but he showed up for every interview, and that would be tough. But adrenaline Friday got him to where he was. But then you saw Saturday, and he actually played pretty well yesterday. But
He did.
Nobody played as well as at the top as Schauffele did. All right,
He should have
welcome.
leaned into it and just came in with music playing.
Well, like the knock is, I say DeChambeau, I like him because he's not boring. Scheffler is so good that he's boring.
Yeah.
That would have been
This was
okay,
it.
Now I got the bad boy image.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the
Bad
Bill
boy.
Lambier of
Yes.
the PGA Tour.
Oh, the memes were amazing. We all
What a-
saw him in the golf cart, the white golf cart with the cops chased him, like the OJ one. Then you had all of the mug shots put up, him next to Tiger Woods. Then you had the John Daly mug shot. So then Scotty was added to that prestigious
is a
club,
great
that
club.
fraternity as well. I mean, so now you can have fun with the t-shirts going forward. And as boring as Scotty Scheffler
He
is,
should wear his T-shirt.
well, we were talking to Matt Rudy on Wednesday. I'd mentioned, that just obviously didn't anticipate this was going to happen on Friday, but anticipated being a new father, how that might change his game. And the way Matt Rudy described him, he goes, for lack of a better term, dork. He's such a golf dork. He doesn't do a lot of things. He's not extremely social. So this isn't much of a change for him at all. So I get the feeling that he will have fun with this. This will not be something that he's
I've seen these
overly
Netflix
embarrassed to where he's like,
documentaries
no, this is off limits. I could see people showing up with shirts that have his mugshot, and he'd probably sign it.
who you least expect.
Well, it was
he's the
kind of
nicest guy.
awkward. Like he would walk from one hole to another, and by the time he was at the second hole, there were already people that had a T-shirt with his mugshot
With the
on it.
mugshot, yeah.
And so he'd walk by him. So, boy, I'd love to see the
Sign
camera on
him.
his face, what he's thinking.
Yeah, like, oh my God.
And the guy that's got his mugshot on his chest is like reaching out for a high five.
Yeah. Hey, buddy.
Street cred.
All right,
Street
welcome
cred.
in everybody on
Scheffler.
a morning. It is kind of the kickoff to summer, Memorial Day weekend coming up. Big Ten baseball tournaments in town.
It is.
We're
No,
doing
we can
our-
confirm it.
We're doing our due diligence.
Oh, I saw so many signs up, so many billboards too, especially when I was making
Yeah.
my way back into Nebraska yesterday.
Well, the problem is the Big Ten Network. I mean, it's you have to explain to people how the bracket works.
They're off for
TV,
summer.
is there going to be blackouts? When Nebraska plays, what's going on?
Yeah.
That ballpark downtown. Well, Nebraska plays tomorrow at 2 against Ohio State as the number 2 seed. We'll talk plenty about what is ahead for Nebraska. Evan Bland will join us a little bit later. Jacob Bigelow as well, as we welcome you in to kick off the week on Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Nick is back. Jimmy is here as well. And I wish I could say I'm no Dick Stockton. I don't know if you guys know that or not. I'm no Dick Stockton.
I
Very
did not
few
think
are.
I
that
don't even
when
try
I met
and be
you.
a Dick Stockton.
Very few are.
Okay. I don't even try and be a Mike Fratello. But I will tell you that I think that game was over last night out in Denver before it started.
Okay.
You're going,
I'm
what do you mean?
listening.
The
Hey.
Timberwolves were down 20.
Yep.
The Denver Nuggets made a huge error before that game started. An absolute colossal error.
They didn't bring back Doug Moe.
Wasn't
Oh, the uniforms?
Wasn't their front office that did not help them this year in the offseason with a short offseason? They did nothing for their bench. They let Brown and Green get away. It was the uniforms.
Yeah.
How can you allow, as the home team, to choose those uniforms 52, 80?
Yeah.
Come
52, 80,
on.
yeah.
And,
Team calculus.
But what you did is you allowed the Timberwolves to wear their vintage throwbacks,
Yep.
which they are unbeaten in.
On the day 20 years ago too, when they
Which is
were in a
ironic
situation.
because, as you remember, back when they used to wear those uniforms, they were beaten a lot,
Yeah,
often.
but you can't mess with that stuff.
But they're
You-
invincible now.
Hey, uniforms matter.
They do.
And the Nuggets don't wear the only uniforms that should matter, which is their throwbacks.
Well, and Denver's got it. They've got a collection of some pretty
They
good
got some
ones.
sweet unis.
Yeah, they got some pretty good ones.
Happer
Um,
has better Nuggets uniforms than the Nuggets
Yeah.
currently have.
But last night, with the Timberwolves winning, and they're a fun team that has stones, man. They don't go away. What they did on the offensive glass in the second half, and Ant didn't shoot. They won. They were down 20, and they won a Game 7 on the road in which Ant went 6 of 24, but he put Jamal Murray in jail in the second half. But here's the thing that is great about the Timberwolves. I don't know. Are there Timberwolves bandwagon fans out there?
I'll jump on it.
I
Yeah,
know,
I can see some.
I know a couple of like really truly diehard fans.
I have friends that are Minnesota sports fans, and they're huge Wolves fans as well.
But it's Omaha's team.
Yeah.
I mean, because we get on Valley Sports during the winter, we are a Timberwolf market right here in Omaha. So I guess we are a Timberwolf. This is Timberwolf country.
So congratulations, Omaha. We made it.
It's about time.
Yeah.
But what happened yesterday in the NBA is great. Now, not great in New York City, where they could be potentially looking at a Pacers-Timberwolves final, which may not do so well at the box office in terms of ratings. Now, the most ideal final would be Dallas-Boston because you have Kyrie.
Yeah.
And, Kyrie would walk around the court in Boston doing sage before the games, and that'd be a great story. Now, the only way that you could really sell off of Wall Street, the Pacers and the Timberwolves, is like throw out the theory that Caitlin Clark might dress for the Pacers.
To
get people interested.
Just float it out there as a rumor.
But what it has done last night, there's the longest thing. David Stern used to talk about this.
He would have had it rigged.
Pete Rozelle was like, you know what? We are the NFL. We got parity. The NBA truly is parity.
Yeah.
It is the sport where there is parity because for now the 6th straight year, we will have a different NBA champion. And the crazy stat, it's a nugget.
It's the only nuggets they're going to be around now.
That the NBA champion hasn't made it past the second round since 2019, the previous NBA champion.
Yeah.
And that streak continues. I mean, come on. The NBA is in a great spot. They got a bunch of young players.
New
teams. West is built, and they got parity. I mean, in comparison, this is how wild that stat is, that they're going to have 6 different champions in 6 years. In the same amount of time, you know what's happened in the NFL? One team has gone to 6 straight conference championship games. They've been in the Super Bowl 4 of 5 years.
Who's that team?
And they've won 3 Super Bowl titles. You guys can do the math and what team that is.
I think I know what team that is.
They located south of here.
I
think it's
away.
Hey, I think it's great for the NBA.
Well, you got every market represented too. I mean, we've gone up to Canada here as of recent to crown an NBA champion, but then you get Midwest Milwaukee. Then we've gotten Denver. Then we've gotten Gold State. Go out West Coast.
Excuse me. You don't need the super team. It all comes down to because I look at especially like Indiana. I think Rick Carlisle is a great developmental head coach for Indiana. I look at the Timberwolves roster. It still, at the end of the day, comes down to drafting and developing. I mean, look at the Nuggets. The Nuggets have drafted well. They've developed guys. We're past the let's buy a team. Heck, even in Golden State, Curry was one of their draft picks that they developed. Clay, Draymond. It still comes down to drafting and developing.
Well, hell, look at even in just 1 year, and we were all mesmerized by him off the bench, and Derek Lively, what he did for Dallas in just his first year as a big and it was just this ridiculous company that he's amongst as far as in a elimination or a game clincher for a rookie to have at least 10 points and 15 boards. The only other two to do that, Magic Johnson and David Robinson in their rookie year.
I know them.
It's great. Hey, it's great for the NBA. I think it's fantastic. I mean, the NBA, we're going to lose inside the NBA, and we're going to be stuck with that crap that ESPN puts out there in the pregame and halftime.
Oh, the Knicks pregame show.
That's embarrassing. ESPN,
it was on mute for a reason.
ESPN is embarrassing. You know what? I don't tune in to watch you. I tune into the Inside the NBA to watch those 4, which, by the way, Chuck has forgotten a lot that he has been in Minneapolis numerous times. He was there for the 19 Final Four, and then he was back for the 3M Golf Championship not too long ago. But that's okay. I mean, memory and like facts on that show really don't matter because we're just there for the personalities. ESPN, you are not inside the NBA. We are not tuning in to watch the personalities on your pregame show and your halftime show. You might as well just run infomercials because that's embarrassing. And yesterday went to a whole nother level is because they had this Knicks fest. I mean, were they handing out knee pads? I didn't know. I mean, Bob Myers, Stephen A. Smith, Kendrick Perkins.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, then they get Spike in there too.
Double
But
barrel.
the NBA on the floor is in a really, really good spot. And parity has arrived. NFL is the best league at selling hope. The NBA is the best league at delivering hope for the Sacramentos, the Oklahoma City, some of these smaller markets, the Minneapolis, St. Paul, even though technically it's a large city, but it's in their realm a small market. So great on the NBA. The conference finals will be very, very interesting to watch.
It's flip-flop.
Adam Silver saying, God, no Indiana, no Minnesota, please.
David Stern would have
like
had
that
this
Denver
all
Miami
fixed.
finals. How about that one? The thing I like about Yeah, and you're right
Tim
about
Donaghy,
the NBA.
I can fix it.
You see those teams actually go into a position where they're actually winning the title. The thing I love about the NFL is, and I can easily use Chicago as an example, or any other team that has struggled to make consistent playoff runs, is the NFL gives you that opportunity, though, where you could finish last in your division, and then the following year you could be the top of your division. Doesn't mean most times. This is why I still think the playoffs they're fair, and most times they're going to reward the team that is just the flat out best football team. But it's one thing to be able to put together, string back-to-back weekends against elite competition to get to the Super Bowl and then eventually win it, like your Chiefs have. But for fan bases like myself with Chicago, when they won in 2018, the division, just getting to the playoffs and being into that position is a good feeling to see your team play in the postseason. That's what the NFL does represent. Now, it does take another gear, as we know, too. It's one thing to get to the playoffs, another thing to actually go through, put yourself in position to win an actual title like your beloved Chiefs.
Hey, how about Rudy Gobert has been to a conference final sooner than Joel Embiid?
Wow.
That makes me smile.
Wow.
I love it.
Let that one sink in there for a moment.
Warms me.
And he was fantastic.
Like the damn Snuggle Bear just gave me a hug.
You're not,
warm
but see,
and soft.
so are you not
smells
are you more pro Rudy or are
Hold
you
on, one
anti
second.
Joel? Because Joel's a rock chalker.
Hold on.
Back for like 6 months.
Back up the
true.
tape.
He didn't even play in the Big 12
The
tournament.
what bear?
The Snuggle Bear. Remember Snuggle Bear?
Oh,
Come
I remember,
on.
yeah, I remember this. Yeah. There was.
I almost said, was that a Smurf?
I always got the Pillsbury Doughboy and the Snuggle Bear confused on the noises they make, but they're very similar.
Did you guys sleep with teddy bears?
When I was little, yeah, I had a Care Bear.
Not since college.
Yeah.
I'm not judging.
Oh wait, no, I guess it wasn't.
Might have
a Care
hurt your
Bear. What was it
social
called?
life.
It was an old brown bear that it had one of those little like sound boxes in it, and if you squeezed it, it would like go.
Couldn't you go and make your own friends?
No, I was a chubby redhead.
I knew I was destined for sports. I slept with sports stuff like my glove, a football, a basketball.
You remember starting lineups?
Yes, I did.
Hell yes.
So I found a shoebox of some starting lineups out of George Brett one, which, by the way, he's batting righty. And then a Charles Barkley one. I think they could be. The Charles Barkley one, probably not so much because there's a little bit of part of his foot chewed off, probably an old dog incident.
Just says diabetes.
Reese loves him, though. He loves these things. The starting lineups, that's so once I got older and we had starting lineups, I would usually have those in my bed. Yeah.
Okay.
With I wasn't invited to a lot of sleepovers.
I just slept in a bedroom that had the comforter was the helmets of the NFL teams, and my drapes were the helmets of NFL teams.
And then when you went to school, you had the NFL helmet pencils or the team pencils.
Sweet. Actually, I did.
Those were great. Oh, and you trade with. I'd always trade with friends.
And I had a pencil sharpener that had the Chiefs helmet on it.
Nice.
You're just taking it to another level, man.
Yeah,
like the sheets with the NFL font, the team.
One of these days, I'm going to quit sports. I'm just going to have to look at the rest of the world. Yeah, I think I was destined to be in sports.
Man. That'd be quite.
I slept with football for the longest time.
Oh yeah, you got.
I think
you never fumbled.
I think my dad thought you have the body of an offensive lineman, but we're going to turn you into a running back.
Fullback.
Just never happened.
Hey, it worked for Darnell Jefferson.
Fullback
program.
But if you go and look on the website, the Urbandale High School football website, I never fumbled in a game.
Exactly. There you go. That's why.
Got to carry to fumble. I mean, it's only the math. All right. Nebraska, Ohio State tomorrow at 2, Big Ten tournament. Weather could be a little bit iffy before 4 tomorrow, but the Big Ten tournament is in town. We will discuss plenty about what Nebraska's path is. Also, Omaha softball. What a season. Unfortunately, yesterday, they shut out Mizzou 14 of 16 innings, but Missouri, which is the number 7 national seed, wins both games yesterday and one of them in walk-off fashion to end Omaha's season. But hell of a year, 43-15. They have arrived. People in the softball world already know that they were here by the Power 6 teams they were beating. They just reminded people that Omaha, with Mike Hurd as the head coach, is not going away. Omaha baseball is the number 1 seed. Yeah. They're headed down to Tulsa, and I would think that Evan Porter should be the coach of the year in the Summit League. Bubblegum and baling wire to put together that lineup and that pitching staff at times, and they found a way to become the number 1 seed, which means that they will host the conference tournament next year in Omaha.
That's just there.
Thank God. Also, all of us Southies, we're still confused. We get to keep our seats next year. How much longer?
Forever.
Hey, the Southies were worried. We were getting together and we were like, what's going to happen to us? They're going to tear down our seats and we got no information on what's going on. We're going to be lost.
Long live the Troughs.
Hey, and our revenge will be, it's going to be a win total in Memorial Stadium for 2 years. Good luck, Alvano. Instead, we got word on Friday that the South is not coming down. For all you Civil War buffs out there, that has nothing to do with that. The South is not coming down.
Hell yes. Pipe down.
But the East and the West.
Yeah. Get some.
What is your favorite? Are you a Northerner, a Southerner, an Easterner, or a Westerner?
I'm a Westerner. Yeah. I am a Westerner because, I mean, that's where I spend the majority of my time if I'm at Memorial Stadium. I guess the last time, though, that I did watch a game in the stands was on the east side.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was back when Nebraska was on that sideline, too. The memories.
Nebraska needs some money, and I got a solution for them with the Southeast.
I got the money.
Oh, I did give them enough money. I didn't say that negatively.
It kind of had. All right, okay. It had a little negative tone there, but I get it.
He's telling you to quit calling.
Joel Selig does not show up on my doorstep and go, we need a linebacker. All right.
You said you're obsessed with sports.
You got the lineup brought to you by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard, Evan Bland from the World Herald, Jacob Bigelow from World and Beyond will join us coming up at 9. Lineup brought to you by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard, greater than Scott Foster. You can always get in touch with the program. Thoughts on just a phenomenal weekend of sports. 402-951-1620. That is the 42 degree, the Source by your mom's house hotline. Whenever you call that, make sure you're by your mom's house.
Oh, there you go. It's a new prerequisite.
That'd be something. It's like somebody at 42 degrees actually was there listening to the show and they called us.
I would love that. Yeah.
I'd go visit them.
And they'd be right by their mom's.
You can.
We're happy to test products here on air.
Email us into the Equitable Bank inbox, Gary at 1620thezone.com.
Handley at 1620thezone.
Where they take banking personally, professionally, and they bring it to you.
We're happy to bank live on
We know if Doug's a Creighton baseball fan.
He doesn't usually weigh in on Creighton baseball.
I get questions.
Okay. Yeah, he doesn't
Do enough
typically weigh
people
in.
care about Creighton baseball?
There's
that you just answered the question.
Yeah.
The J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed is open all the time.
That should be a drop.
Which is unfortunate. The J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Gary Sharp 1620.
And Nick Handley 1620.
All right, we're off and running. We're all back together. It is the week before Memorial Day. It's the kickoff to summer week. And lots to discuss after a busy weekend of sports. We'll do all that leading up to 10 on this Monday on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Hi, this is John Bishop. Since the day I got my driver's license, I've had a check next to the organ and tissue donor box. It's a selfless gift because healthy organ donors can save up to 8 lives. And with tissue donation, dozens more can get the gift of sight, and burn victims can get life-changing skin grafts. Anybody can register, and there's no cost to you or your family. Check that organ donor box next time you renew your license, or visit goodguysavelives.com. Learn more about organ and tissue donation today and see how you can save 8 lives at goodguysavelives.com.
When it comes to concrete repair, EverLevel has some serious game. Coach Greg McDermott here to coach you on why you should choose EverLevel Concrete Repair. They've got the fundamentals to fix your cracked and uneven concrete, and their products will give you the best defense against future damage. It's a fraction of the price compared to replacement, and their solutions come with a long-term transferable warranty. Working with EverLevel is a slam dunk. Call EverLevel Concrete Repair today for your free inspection.
Watching a ball game at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is pretty awesome. Oscar's offers the MLB package, so your team is always on their upgraded audio-video system, and nothing is better than watching the game with a cold frosty one, Oscar's Pizza, or award-winning char-buffed wings. And with daily lunch and dinner specials, it's really a no-brainer. So get ready to watch your favorite team play ball at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Mexitli Restaurant by Chef Alberto Cardenas offers you an authentic Mexican cuisine experience with the traditional flavors of your favorite Mexican dishes with an innovative touch. At Mexitli Restaurant, they offer you the experience of tasting Mexico in every bite. The best tacos, birria, quesadillas, and more. Visit them at Mexitli Restaurant in downtown Omaha at 16th and Harney, and look them up on Facebook at Mexitli Restaurant or call 531-772-0550 to order.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
High schoolers, unleash your creativity and learn about potential careers in broadcasting at the Digital Expressions Media Camp. Have fun, make friends, and get hands-on experience with video and radio production June 9th through the 14th at the University of Nebraska at Kearney. Scholarships are available from the Nebraska Broadcasters Association, and spots are limited. Learn more at digitalexpressionscamp.com. That's digitalexpressionscamp.com.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Car repair is car repair. Most places you go can change your oil or fix your brakes. The difference is the experience you'll get at Omaha Car Care. We're part of the community. We were born here, and we believe that our relationship with you should be built to last. We're going to consult you, not sell you. We're going to give you a free loaner car. We're going to treat you like a valued friend that we want to continue to see in the years to come. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
Now back to Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back in on a Monday morning. Dallas sports fans had a good weekend. Yeah. Dallas Stars, or
because the Cowboys didn't play,
still alive.
Yeah, and the Cowboys didn't play it.
And the
it's all good.
Dallas Mavericks are still alive. So the NBA Conference Finals begin on Tuesday night. Short turnaround for Indiana as they go to Boston to play, and then the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to host inside the NBA and the Dallas Mavericks.
Bitter NBA rivalry, Midwest Division grudge match from back in the day.
I think it'll be a lot of fun.
It's great.
You have a likable team that's got an edge to them against the biggest whiner in all of sports.
Omaha's team against the Flat Earther.
Also, we are guaranteed to have a Luka in the NBA Finals. We will either have Luka Garza or Luka Doncic, who, if you had to guess Doncic's age, what would you think his age is?
Mid-late 30s.
46, type 2 diabetic, and high blood pressure. But is a hell of a YMCA basketball.
Yes, player. the guy at the Y that is doing all kinds of fun calisthenics before he gets on the court and then just has the awkward shooting motion, but it always goes in.
That Gatorade? Jameson. Sorry.
What is he, 25? 26?
I think so.
And he always has a sneaky triple-double, and he is Mr. Palms Up. I might retire that award and just give it to Doncic.
Yeah, that's annoying.
It might be the biggest whiner of all time, and LeBron James is on line one saying, hold on just a moment here. Also this weekend, so we had a champion in Omaha. The Supernovas won $1 million.
Yeah.
They won their league before a big crowd on Saturday. My question is, so one of the co-owners is Jason Derulo, and he was here, and I don't think you can say his name normal.
Jason Derulo.
But why does anybody ever ask him why every 10 seconds in every song that he has, he mentions his name?
I don't know. It's always the intro, right?
Yeah.
It's always in the intro. Khaled it's like, G, and you know, like, oh, who's this? And then he lets you know, Jason Derulo. But I thought he got away from it. I thought that he finally phased that out because people just knew a Jason Derulo banger. But that theory was debunked because one of the more recent releases, I don't remember what the name of the song was. This was a few years ago. he came back with the Jason Derulo intro, if you will, the introduction of this is me. It's his thing. I don't know.
So he was there. A bunch of celebrities were there. They did a really good job this year of getting the right people at their matches to sit courtside. They connected with the content creators, and they had a fabulous first year. You wonder, are they enough to withstand the league? You got to make some money somehow. But they had a fantastic year, and I think the league will get better next year with some parity. And they also had great success this year, and they didn't have a Husker on the roster. So, a Beeson or a Rodriguez possibly next year. So they win. And, locally, it's a big story. They were covered, head to toe locally. Shout out Jeff Ekstrom, who was their PR director. Man, they more than any other franchise, minor league, college, whatever. Talk about, everything that's going on media-wise. So good for them.
Yep.
But Rudy wrote yesterday into the Equitable Bank inbox. He sent me this email. He said, "Hi, Gary." I said, "Hi, Rudy. What a season for the Supernovas. I feel it feels huge for Omaha, but I haven't seen any national news or coverage, only regional news and TV. No USA Today, AP, or even a write-up on ESPNW. Is it a small crime that the league and this team doesn't have more national recognition?" I would say, who is that on? Is that on the league?
Yeah.
Now, I think the league is looked at by national people as minor league.
Yep.
It has not established itself yet. And let's be honest. If there's one thing, and I've said this numerous times, is unless you are a just die-in-the-wool volleyball fan, there's a lot of these players you have no idea what their names are. They don't have what the other league that'll be in town next year has Olympians.
Right.
And you'll see them this summer, and then you will watch them this winter play in Omaha. So in terms of recognition, I can see why it probably gets ignored a little bit from the national perspective, but a lot of minor league sports do, and I think that's how these national entities approach it. Now, locally, coverage was great.
Yeah.
They got everything that they could have imagined out of the coverage for this team.
And I'm going to imagine that's the goal of this league, is to roll out to its individual markets and try to put the best people in place. You mentioned Jeff Ekstrom, and we've talked about this many times of how from day one the Supernovas have done it the right way because they've engaged with the community from day one. They were months out from even opening their season, but when this became a thing, like you saw them active in summer, you would see them at Rocket Car Wash. You would see them in parades. You would see them everywhere just trying to engage with the community. So by the time that they actually opened the doors for competition, people knew who they were. They did that the right way. To try to replicate that at a national level with this league, I don't even know if that's their sole number one goal. I think it'd be nice at some point if you get to that point where you have a lot of individual market success that, I know my brother-in-law, in fact, actually lives out in Grand Rapids, and he was texting back and forth because him and his wife go to a lot of the games in Grand Rapids, and they get a pretty decent turnout as well. And he said they kind of got hooked on it. I think if you have more success stories like that, like Grand Rapids, like Omaha, and the rest of the league, I think naturally that can come together and maybe give it a little bit more national attention. But I would assume, without knowing the overall very top of this league's goal from getting the national optics, I would assume what they experienced this year with having the butts in the seats in the various markets, that they feel that that's probably a pretty big win.
So we know Omaha did well. What were the other markets?
I know Grand Rapids did pretty good.
So did they make money?
Did
actual bodies pay for tickets? That's the other thing.
Yeah, and see, that's where I don't know.
This league gave away, because the Supernovas gave away a lot of tickets. I could have had many tickets for Saturday.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good question.
I hate that philosophy. I get it, to get people to sample your product, but I'm always under the mindset that once you give away tickets, people expect that, even if you deliver.
Yeah.
Which they do. They put on a really good show. I wonder around the league how many true ticket buyers they had. Nobody was close to Omaha.
Right.
And their impact locally, and we already in a volleyball area. I think they did it right because they got the right people that supported them. I said on Friday when you were away, having the head volleyball coach at Creighton and the head volleyball coach at Nebraska be so open, and then you have a lot of players, Omaha, Creighton, Nebraska, that would come and watch the matches is huge because those fans in those seats recognize those athletes right away. And they're like, wow, if they're supporting this, then this must be a really, really good product.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see what happens in year 2. Like, they're going to add teams. I think the quality of play will be better, but they're going to have competition. It sounds like there's even another league that might be coming on board that's got a big $10 million salary cap. So you hope that with this great product that they don't water it down and stretch everybody out. And next thing you know, you have 3 leagues that completely fall apart. But there's a lot of money in volleyball. I mean, it's expensive. It's expensive to play volleyball, and there is a ton of money behind now what looks like could be 3 leagues in this country.
Well, it goes to the popularity of the sport from the collegiate level, and we've seen that number grow when it comes to viewership. And we're blessed to have one of the most elite programs when it does come to college volleyball with Nebraska, and then Creighton being pretty damn good as well. But the other part is, and we've heard, I think Jordan Larson even talked about this when we knew that she was going to be playing in the League One. There's other players that I think are now understanding. They go from college, they're playing at either an All-American level or on a national championship team that now they all of a sudden don't have to go abroad. And I think that is a big draw. So if you're seeing a major shift into that, to where you don't have to live abroad for however long, you want to continue to play it at a high level and get paid for it. Boy, that's a huge draw. And that's another thing we talk about, shifting attention nationally to something like that. If you have the very best of the best of the players in the States that are actually playing in the States, that to me would create a little bit more national buzz. And you asked the question about how many of these teams in the Pro Volleyball Federation that were actually making money. I'm not sure. I would venture to guess this, though. Grand Rapids, I think, is another one, because from what my brother-in-law was telling me, that I think the few that they went to, they were 7,000 plus.
That's awesome.
That I'm assuming markets like that, like Grand Rapids, Omaha, maybe even Columbus, probably did okay. I would be more curious about Atlanta, San Diego, some of the bigger markets that have a lot more going on, especially that time of the year where there's only so much to go around when it comes to your attention to sports and community events like that. But it wouldn't shock me if you saw attendance-wise that Omaha, Grand Rapids, and Columbus would be probably near the top there.
They got some great momentum in this city. I just hope the league can stay up with Omaha, because that would be another gut punch if Omaha has a good franchise, because we supported outdoor football.
Yes, we did.
We supported it in this community, but the league couldn't match what was going on in Omaha.
The Nighthawks, it was fantastic.
Well, even the Mammoths, and I think the rosters were better. But people were very suspect because they're like, is this going to be a fly by the night? Am I going to commit to it?
Right.
People have committed to volleyball in this town. I just hope the league can keep up with Omaha, because Omaha is a staple, and it's the best case scenario. The premier franchise in the league won the title. They won $1 million. You had it on CBS Sports Network, and you had 10,000 people that were in the building, and it looked good.
Yeah,
it looked
like
good.
The Lakers.
My only thing, I went to a couple of matches. We're spoiled here because college volleyball is played at such a high level, and it's the draw of the college. You get the band, the cheerleaders, the connection, because that's your school. That's, for me, that's tough to overcome. And plus, I think that level of volleyball that you get to see in this state is better than the volleyball I was seeing from pro athletes. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and
I thought the quality at the highest college level is better than what I saw.
And that's what I'm curious with the new league that Jordan Larson's going to be a part of, that League One, that you're going to see the types of players that are used to playing at the big stage, at the Olympic stage, that were, you have a lot of All-Americans that are continuing to train as such, as opposed to, again, there's players that they're training, they're doing everything that they know from a volleyball standpoint, but they've got other lives, they got other things in their lives going on too, that is probably not going to give you the amount of time in like a day that you would normally have if that's just your primary focus as well.
But congratulations.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Great year, and they won a title, and they get to spread $1 million out. Does everybody that's in the organization get a crack at that mill?
Yeah, like we mentioned, like does Jeff Ekstrom get a little slice of that?
Like that movie where Demi Moore's rolling on the money.
They give like
Indecent proposal.
Yeah, like the scorekeeper $100.
What's the PA guy get? Do they all get rings?
And the big check that they gave him on the court there Saturday, did they go to FNBO today and try and cash that?
Yeah, you see Doug.
They have the big check department.
All right, Jimmy's got an update coming up next. Also this weekend, a great weekend. I mean, this is a women's sports state. Omaha softball. If you didn't know how good they were, you do now. And what a performance down in Columbia that unfortunately came up short yesterday. But before we get to that, going into the break, Omaha softball in 2019 was 4-43. They just wrapped up Mike Hurd's third year as the head coach, 43-15. And back-to-back trips to the NCAA tournament. He's been the head coach here for 3 years.
Whatever he wants, give
enough.
He got an extension, and it was
if he wants a show on the Zone.
Enough said. Well, he was. We gave him some love on Thursday. Yeah. We had fun when he was on with us. All right, Jimmy's got an update coming up next. Evan Bland a little bit later. Nebraska baseball. The Big Ten tournament starts here in Omaha tomorrow. Nebraska plays Ohio State at 2. Pretty good draw for Nebraska. Probably pretty good for the Big Ten. Nebraska and Iowa are on separate brackets, so they can kind of spread out the love from the fans. That if you make it to Sunday and the team in red is playing, $15K easy would be there if the weather is good. Jimmy's got an update coming up next in the next hour. Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio. This is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. A crash with injuries reported at the intersection of 29th and Harney. 72nd not moving very fast right now between Military and Ames. And flashing red lights in all directions at 108th and L. Might move a little bit slower here currently. Remember to stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
The electrical market requires your company to adjust to an ever-changing field. IBEW Local 22 gives you flexibility with access to journeymen, apprentices, and proven training programs. Call Bob at IBEW Local 22 for details at 402-980-7596.
With T-Mobile, you can get tons of benefits and still save because nobody likes having to choose. It's like getting romance and sci-fi.
I love you. Also, I'm a robot.
At T-Mobile, you can get the benefits you want and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, switch and keep your phone. We'll pay it off up to $800.
Via virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Qualifying unlocked device credit service and timely redemption required. Card has no cash access and expires in 6 months. See T-Mobile.com.
Spring has arrived, and Lenaha has everything you need to revitalize your landscape. The best shrubs, perennials, and freshly dug trees, all grown right here in Nebraska. Lenaha Nurseries, your homegrown headquarters since 1974. Think spring. Think Lenaha's Garden Center. We offer the area's most complete selection of landscape supplies and high-quality plant material for your projects. We're your one-stop shop and homegrown headquarters. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lenaha Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's deal is to McSitley Restaurant in downtown Omaha at 16th and Harney. Get $50 in gift certificates for only $25. McSitley Restaurant offers authentic Mexican cuisine with the traditional flavors in your favorite Mexican dishes with an innovative touch. McSitley Restaurant in downtown Omaha. This week's half-off deal.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
The headlines remind us daily. The world is a dangerous place. The elites in charge say everything's fine. Stop noticing. But you know better. And your gut knows that time is short to prepare for a world that is 4 missed meals away from chaos. My Patriot Supply has helped over 3 million families become more self-reliant and is the company Americans trust to prepare. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contain delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Secure at least 1 food kit for each family member. For a limited time, save $200, plus get free shipping on all their Ready Hour 3-month emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour Foods. My Patriot Supply also has solar power generators, water filtration units, biomass stoves, heirloom seeds, and critical survival gear. Shop MyPatriotSupply.com today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Handley at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
The Big Ten basketball. Well, that's not going to be here. The Big Ten baseball tournament will begin tomorrow at the Chuck. We say this again because many people don't know. Nebraska will be the 2-seed in said tournament. They'll take on 7th-seeded Ohio State at 2 p.m. You should go to a baseball game. Take your family. Take their family. Take everyone else's family. The winner advances to take on the winner of Indiana-Purdue in the 3-6 matchup Thursday at 2, while the losers face off in an elimination game Wednesday at 7. Still glad they call it the losers bracket. Not changing the name to the scored less runs bracket. Creighton baseball finishes out the season with a 35-17 record. Be a good basketball record following a 2-1 loss to Seton Hall on Saturday. That's it. That's a story.
It's a good baseball record too.
It is 35-7. Most people would take that.
Mm-hmm.
The Storm Chasers scored 6 runs in the first to claim a 4-2 series win over the St. Paul Saints with an 11-2 win yesterday afternoon. They come back home to open a 6-game series with the Columbus Clippers. And a reminder, Saturday night is Kitty Night at Werner Park. That's great they do that. Sadly, Omaha softball's fun ride comes to an end in the regional championship. The Missouri Tigers won back-to-back games, 5-1, 1-0 in 9 innings yesterday in Columbia. I'm sure they just pelted their bus with batteries and all kinds of crap as they were driving off. In just their second NCAA tournament appearance after winning only one regional game last season, the Mavs made it to the regional championship for the first time in program history.
Hey, I was so my buddy Dari texted me earlier in the day, and he goes, "Man, this is a great story," because he was, getting ready for their softball coverage on the SEC network, and after the game ended to send Mizzou to the Super Regional, they had the Mizzou coach on. Do they expect everybody to complete when any Missouri coach that's being interviewed goes M-I-Z? Do they expect the commentator to go Z-O-U? You're talking to a guy that is a Boomer Sooner grad. You expected him to go Z-O-U. I mean, he's still bitter that a really good Oklahoma team got beaten Columbia back in the day. But every Missouri coach does that on an interview. M-I-Z. And they just expect the person who is not a Mizzou grad on the other end to go Z-O-U.
Just imagine if it were me on the other
then
end.
it's the whole Dumb and Dumber. It's the whole Dumb and Dumber big gulps thing, and you go, well, see you later. And they don't get the response in that one.
Cannot say go F yourself when they say that. Don't do that again. You're suspended for a week. 1 week. Well worth it. The Mavericks finished the campaign with a 43-15 overall record, setting a new record for most wins in a D1 season. It is a really cool story. They went in conference 14-4, finished second, won back-to-back Summit League tournaments, and they at least get to come back to beautiful Omaha, Nebraska to live. Their opponent still has to live in Columbia, Missouri, which is what I was told many times in school. He's like, you know what? Damn right. You're right. I feel better about my life. Yay.
For people that do not know, Jimmy is a graduate of KU.
Yep.
All right, continue on.
There were 2 Game 7s yesterday in the NBA. One game sucked as bad as the network televising it. The other game was the Timberwolves Omaha's NBA team rallying from 20 points down in the third quarter to knock out the defending champion Denver Nuggets 98-90. They'll face the Dallas Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals, which begin Wednesday night at the Target Center Love it. New teams. Be a great series. 7 games. Go Wolves. I'm sorry, Ant-Man. Please forgive me. The other game is Pacers beating the Knicks 130-109. They'll play Boston. That starts tomorrow. In hockey, Oilers, Canucks, Game 7 tonight. Winner faces Dallas. That's the Stars, not the Mavericks. They're not that good that they play both sports, but could be good. Rangers and Panthers. So sorry, Steve. Well, that'll be the Eastern Conference Finals, which will begin later this week. And finally, Mr. Raider, Jim Otto, the great Jim Otto, died at age 86. 00 and a legend. Offensive line for 15 seasons, but that's quite the run. And he's always been known as the original Raider. One of the original badasses of the AFL and the Raiders.
Thanks, Jimmy. It is, I think, even hotter since we began this hour in the studio.
Yes, we're in the Boston Garden.
So I think the air conditioning is broken the building, and these are third world problems, and a lot of people are going to feel sorry for us.
It's going to be 85 today.
But you know that when I say that it's hot, it's
Oh,
got
that's
to be
true.
hot because I love the heat. I mean, I can't wait to be sleeping when it's 80 and the windows are open.
That's weird.
I'm saving the
I get it.
environment. No AC. It
I've
is
covered Bill Snyder.
so hot in this studio.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable. Usually I have the vent right here where I'm complaining because it's blowing too hard and it's almost too cold. There's none of that. Yeah, I'm slightly uncomfortable.
Coming up later on in the zone today, it'll be Pantsless Monday, but thankfully we'll be out of here by that time.
Be shirtless and pantsless.
Yeah. Once that sun starts coming in here too.
They thought after hours started at 6. Going to be after we're done at
I
10.
noticed our marquee is not displaying anything too.
It's dead.
Yeah.
Oh wait, it kind of is. It's just really
No,
it's
no,
really
I think
dull.
I think the marquee at 50th and Capitol has died.
It's dull. It's really dull. Okay,
It's been struggling
for
for a while.
There's a big strip of nothing in the middle.
That would be a
Oh,
moment.
no. Yeah.
It's hung on for a long time. Same amount as the Crossroads video board.
Yeah, you're right. You are right.
Is our video board now gone?
No, I can
you
you
vaguely.
See, you could kind of see some
Yeah.
stuff on there, but now even the power of it, even with the big strip in the middle that doesn't exist anymore.
During the storms over the weekend, we got zapped here.
Oh, maybe.
Dave Winger, the legend who used to work here, loved it cold. So he'd be the first person in like at 5, and he only came in so early so he could adjust the temp.
Yep, he's that guy.
But then the heating bills were so high that they put a lock on the temperature on the floor where all the studios are.
Yeah.
And then Dave said, "I'm out of here." He went to a different station.
Unless you're going to give me a key to that thing.
True story. He got in a huge argument with the former GM here. Really? Oh yeah, because he was cold. And they were like, "Do not touch that." He's like, "I'll touch that all I want." Yeah, I love winging. But yeah, it used to be really, really chilly here. So I bet we got hit by lightning. All the stations are moved. But
Which is usually if we get a hit.
Is the sign done?
No,
I mean, that is a staple of Cox Communications to NRG Media.
That's
That
as
may be
faint as
done.
I've ever seen it.
I think it's done.
It might be.
I think after 332 years, the NRG Media sign on Dodge is done.
Oh, yeah. See, it now has, it used to have that strip in the middle that you couldn't read anything. Now it's got 2. It's got one up top and one on the bottom. So now you're just seeing like little, and even what you could see before was a lot brighter. Now it's really faint.
This is like the end of Star Trek.
This is a bad Monday.
This is Spock dying after the
We've got no
radiation.
AC. The sign is going down. Oh man, Mother Nature, you win again.
There's less beer than there's ever been in the beer fridge.
True. I would say pour one out. But as you drive by today and you see the demise of our
Building.
sign, give it a honk.
Welcome back to 1620.
Let's see if we can hear anything. We're very popular with the bougie cars. So as the Envision drives by, expect a honk. Is Will Bolt speaking to the media today?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, so he'll announce who's starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which I would be surprised if it's not Brett Sears. Don't overthink things. They would just go with the regular rotation on regular rest to go Sears, McConaughey, Brockett. Because when Nebraska plays at 2 tomorrow, weather permitting, because the weather could be a little dicey before 4 tomorrow in the city, they would play not until Thursday. Now, get this, fans.
Yeah.
All of our enjoyment with what Big Ten does for baseball, if Nebraska goes 2-0, they will be playing at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning.
Oh, yeah.
On a Saturday?
That's how you reward a team that is undefeated, is you play a little breakfast baseball. Absolutely.
Hangover special.
But then if you win that game, you're not playing until Sunday at 2. You got the whole day off and the next morning.
Don't overthink it, Will. Do not overthink it. I know there are people that are like, well, if you get, don't overthink it. I said this Friday, Brett Sears starts tomorrow, and then on regular rest, he could start again on Sunday on a limited pitch count, and then wouldn't pitch again until Friday in the opening game of the regional. Don't overthink it. You've come this far. Don't overthink it. Don't. And you would not move up McConaughey.
Nope.
Because he'd be on even shorter rest.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, you got 4 days rest for Sears, and then you're right. If you got to the point of a Sunday, you have another 4 days rest for your guy.
Boom.
That's a good situation to be in. And this time of the year, arms are conditioned.
Let me introduce you to your bullpen. Okay. Saving the bullpen arms earlier in the tournament, much better.
100%.
All right. The one of the biggest stories of the weekend was what Omaha softball was doing, and what Mike Hurd has done in 3 years as the softball coach at Omaha. Now, if you have followed Omaha softball, especially beginning last year, this should not surprise you that when they are playing Power 6 teams, whether it be Mizzou or Washington, they don't flinch. And they're on the radar. People in the sport already know it. And this is how it's supposed to work when you have a really, really good head coach who has got a team that's got a ton of moxie, that also has a lot of talent, and you have a absolute wagon that is in the circle in Cam Meyer.
Mm-hmm.
And then from Sydney yesterday, you get people are like, whoa, why would you pitch her? Well, they've trusted her, and she was fantastic yesterday. But they have been on the map. It just now they were on a bigger stage where people could see, man, Omaha softball is on the come. But you know what comes with this is Mike Hurd is on the map.
Mm-hmm.
You are at a school, and this is how it also is supposed to work. High school coach, small college, heavily involved in the club softball circuit, and then you get your opportunity at a Division I job like Mike did, and people go, man, that guy can coach. And he can coach, and he can put together a program. He can motivate. And also, I will say this, and I might be a little biased here, he's a great dude who now is selling, because of his attire yesterday, bucket hats are sold out at Lawler's that have the Omaha logo on it. But the key will be at a place like Omaha, because I saw this with men's basketball when they were on the cusp of going to the NCAA tournament about 5-6 years ago, is can you keep momentum going? Because now you have this long layoff. People got excited. People are like, oh, man, that's a really, really good program. Now you don't play again until February. How do you keep the momentum going where people not only watched you this weekend and are new to what your product is, but also come into your stadium and that beautiful facility and watch you play? Because as long as he's the head coach, they're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could say, man, they're losing their 2 top pitchers. And he'll say, you know what? Those 2 top pitchers helped us get our next pitchers.
Yeah.
And we're going to be fine. But he's going places, and his program is as well. And I'm bummed that it could not break through yesterday. But damn, they went from a heartbreaker they're ready to go to the Super at 3-0, 2-0 against Mizzou, against the SEC, which has 7 of the 16 teams that are in the Super.
Mm-hmm.
And you give up a 5 spot, and then you are supposed to bounce back 30 minutes later, and they get it all the way to the 9th inning. I mean, great job. Unfortunate ending, but 43-15 is 43-15.
It is, and this is a very similar conversation that we have about the baseball product in the state of Nebraska when it comes to the high school level and the amount of players. And we've seen a lot of pitchers come through. We've seen Washington. We've seen Nebraska benefit from that. We've seen Oklahoma benefit from that. And when you're able to present, again, a really good opportunity for a league that's very winnable, a facility that's fantastic now, Connie Clausen Field, and a coach that has now established a winning culture, how this can change Omaha softball in the consistency part of it. And the other thing, you bring up the most important thing, we got to be real. As you said, as long as he's the head coach there. And when you know that.
He'll have suitors. And you know what? He'll have a suitor 45 minutes down the road.
Yep. No doubt.
When Rhonda Revelle retires.
No doubt.
What I was thinking when
Nebraska doesn't have to look very far.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that he would leave Omaha.
Right.
Because he got a good gig here.
No.
I mean,
I take it it's earned,
but
it's respect.
Yeah, it is. That's the best way to describe it. Is when you are a coach at a mid-major program and you are on the radar with the way your program has been built and you perform. Yeah, people are going to come and
we think you're awesome.
Come and
Would
talk to you.
Coach us.
But man, I tell you, he likes it here.
Well, and there's I think there's pride in that too. I don't want to pretend to know any coach's overall financial goals when it comes to certain jobs or their overall goal on certain jobs, maybe even beyond financial. Maybe it's in certain aspects, but I think this day and age where you do see athletic directors, athletic departments try to be proactive in preserving success. And we saw Omaha step up to the plate and extend him. I think it was well before even the Summit League tournament, that you have identified a guy that you want to make sure he's feeling the love. You want to make sure that your team, but more importantly, the guy that's leading that culture is understanding what they're going to. And I would imagine, and this, even talking to Adrian about this, is you are also asking him now, okay, that was great. That was amazing. We are so happy. The question that you're asking right now, the question that we've all asked when it comes to Omaha athletics, when it comes to a very good season, whether we're talking about men's basketball, women's basketball, hockey, softball, baseball, how do we stay at that level? And if a head coach is saying, we got a lot of good things here, but maybe we could use this, maybe we could use that, and your athletic department is able to deliver that and put something down on paper, that's, in my opinion, how you swat away the suitors.
You're absolutely right. I mean, we're seeing it in Lincoln with football. Athletic director, head coach, same page.
Yep.
It took a bit to get there. Great in basketball. We can ask the same thing. Does Ed Service have all the resources to be successful? Are him and the athletic director on their vision the same?
Right.
I think Adrian's vision and Mike Hurd's vision is exactly the same. Also, Mike will be able to, because of what kind of coach he is and what he's done in 3 years, there's going to be players that maybe, and this is a great area for softball.
Yeah.
I mean, this is unbelievable area for softball, that some that went away are going to be like, oh man, coming back to Omaha, that's not a bad option. Or you look at like South Dakota State's roster, it seems like all they do is recruit Papillion La Vista kids, which is a smart idea.
Right.
Maybe they don't leave and they start looking at Omaha, which has represented the Summit League 2 straight years. Now, also watching this weekend, and it kind of wraps up, I don't want to say sneaky, because if you know, it's been a really good athletic year for Omaha Athletics.
Yeah, it has.
Like really, really good year of success in the Summit League, and then the handful of programs that have gone on to NCAA competition. They've either won at least one game or they have represented really well.
Yeah.
And all I could think of watching this weekend with what Omaha was doing on that stage against Mizzou, who Mizzou is the number 7 national seed. So it's not like Mizzou was like the number 16 seed and Omaha was, they shouldn't have been a 4 seed. And that's a good Mizzou team. That's what Omaha Athletics should be. Omaha has the facilities and the resources and the city and the recruiting ground, or the recruiting area, that Omaha Athletics actually should be just dominating the Summit League.
I'm going to really dial in on the ball bat sports with that conversation too, because I remember watching when Omaha baseball was transitioning into Division I and Summit League play. And you remember, very similar to what St. Thomas is going through, you had that probationary period where they were still winning regular season titles. And they're doing this, no offense to the field at Boys Town, but they're doing this in essentially a sandbox. You couldn't even charge admission. And so I remember as it was, and it was always one of those, it almost felt like an urban legend, because I have so many friends. My best friend is an alum, a baseball alum there too. But a lot of people that I know that were former baseball players that are still dialed in, they're part of the Diamond Club, that they talk about, oh yeah, we're going to get a new stadium, and then it would get squashed. Oh yeah, there's going to be a new stadium, then it gets squashed. And we always thought, if they could just have better facilities, why could, I mean, you're watching them beat an Oral Roberts. And I'm thinking to myself, this is where I get into the baseball town. It's very similar to softball. Why can't Omaha baseball be another Oral Roberts, where you get them in the postseason? It's like, yeah, this is not a normal mid-major program. They recruit well. They've got dudes. And these are teams that are legitimate threats to get out of that regional because of the way they establish themselves. I think that's possible for both ball bat sports because of the talent that you have here locally, but now you have the facilities to back it up. And that's what I've always wanted to see. And you're right about the season that sports had, because your flagship sport is hockey. Hockey overachieved this year. And there's not many times we could say that. They got into the final game of the conference tournament. They got to the final game of the conference tournament. I see what you're doing.
Stir it, Nick.
Just stir it up. And then, I mean, they were on the brink of winning and getting to the final 8 in the NCAA tournament. It was a very good season. They closed very strong. They finally got to Minneapolis for the Frozen face-off and won a game against Big Bag North Dakota. Yep. So that was good. Then you look at what volleyball did. That was great. Basketball, men's basketball had some successes as well, especially getting the buzzer beater there, pushing into a second game of the Summit League tournament. And I know they want to, and you know it better than I do, Crutch wants to see that thing where it's more of, hey, we're expected to be into.
There's pressure on men's basketball in Omaha this year in year 3. I mean, it's go time to hang out in a different neighborhood in the Summit League.
Yeah. Well, and then we get to the ball bat sports too, of what they are. We'll see how Omaha baseball plays this week down in Tulsa, but getting the number 1 seed and softball damn near finding themselves in a super regional and getting that national attention of one of the great stories that was developing over the weekend. Hell yeah. It was very solid.
Here's another thing about Omaha athletics. And their NIL is in a good spot. It's the best that it is in the Summit League. Now, I have my own worries about the future of the Summit League, because you have Denver that is disappointed that they did not get an invite to the West Coast Conference. Kansas City's probably going to be courted by the Missouri Valley Conference. I know the Summit League desperately would like to have Summit League football and Summit League hockey. There's no reason that the national champion in football is somebody else's property, but yet they play all the other sports in your or North Dakota and Denver and Omaha are playing in somebody else's hockey and not in your hockey.
Right.
I think that's the next step. You saw St. Thomas come into the NCHC. I mean, I think Summit League hockey and Summit League football are on the horizon, but I wonder, they're missing a team.
Yep.
What's going to happen with that? But whatever it looks like, Omaha's place is in a good spot. Their NIL with the bull market, they got a great relationship with the athletic department. They're all on the same page. And one thing kind of tipped me, because I didn't go to school there, but I've been involved for a while now doing men's basketball, and they're nice enough to let me come do the PA for baseball and softball, and I hang around both of those programs. Is I always wondered, okay, there's still a lot of people that think that Omaha is Division II because you're playing some of the same teams.
Sure.
They're like, hey, when I was in college, we played South Dakota State.
Yeah, this is the old North Central Conference days. Yeah.
So you have to remind people, and there's not as much passion. They're starting outside of hockey. Hockey's a standalone on that campus. And I wondered, okay, you've got people that want to make this one of the better mid-major programs in the country, but do they have the infrastructure? The whole dabbling with Frankie Fiddler and trying to keep him here told me that there are enough deep pocket people in this town that want Omaha athletics, whether it be on ice or on the hard court, to be successful, that they'll step up with the money. I mean, what they tried to do to keep Frankie is kind of unheard of for a school like Omaha. And there were people in this community that said, I want to win. I want to keep him here. Here's what I'm donating. And you go, really? I mean, Frankie's decision came down to Michigan State or coming back to Omaha. And not to go to Nebraska, not to go to Creighton.
Yeah.
It was Michigan State or I was going to come back to Omaha.
Yeah.
So there are people that now that are in the community that want Omaha athletics to win and win big. And what happened this weekend just adds fuel to that. And it's a great moment. But this should be like a yearly thing with all their sports. Really, the only sport that probably has way underachieved is women's basketball. But every other sport is in a really good spot on that campus.
It reminds me of the first year that Baxter Arena opened with what hockey was coming off of. And that was the big question going into it. Okay, you are in maybe the best spot any team in college hockey could have been going into that 2015 season, or 2000. Well, yeah, would have been 2016. Yeah, you're going into that season, and you just came off of a Frozen Four appearance. You're opening this brand new building. It's sold out. I mean, it's legitimately sold out. That you've got that. Now you have to deliver on the ice, or in a situation where now you have to deliver on the field. And for a while, it was going well. They were ranked number 1 when they opened up that building. Number 1 team in college hockey when they opened up that building. And they had a bad second half of the season. And then a lot of the momentum that they had established, it was such a huge opportunity to just put a stranglehold on all the good things they had going. And Dean Blaze and that program, there was, a way that he almost recruited so good to a fault. And you had guys that would leave really early. There's a formula that I think does exist for Omaha. What exactly it is, and it's different for every sport, I think. I think for the ball bat sports, it's very similar, though. I think it's what we've talked about with being able to tap into the local market, but also understanding now you've got something to go off when it comes to Mike Hurd in softball, the facilities, the success, getting to the postseason, being able to be one game away, one inning away, one big hit away from going to a super regional, what that can do on being able to sustain that. I think baseball, Evan was part of those teams as an assistant coach with Bobby Harold when they were transitioning and winning regular season titles, that he knows what it takes. They've been to the NCAA tournament as well. So being able to establish that, you're talking about the NIL and the bull market. If you're going to sustain, that's got to be a big part of it. That's got to be a big communication operation there between the coaches, athletic directors, and what they need to have in front of them as far as here's where we are, which is pretty good. How do we stay pretty good? Let's talk about that. Let's all be on the same page. Very similar to what you're seeing in Lincoln with football and what they're now doing with 1890.
Yeah, I think sooner than later, all 3 Division I programs in softball will be the NCAA tournament. I love what they're doing at Creighton. I think they made a great hire in Krista. And, the next year for Nebraska softball will be fascinating. Because, Rhonda isn't going to be there much longer.
Yeah.
And you got Jordy Ball coming back from her injury. You don't think that she's going to be on the Vengeance tour?
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean,
oh, yeah.
So that sport's in a good spot in this state. And it has been for a while. It's just when you have a run like Mike had with Omaha, it's like, oh, yeah, man, it just isn't Nebraska.
Yep.
This isn't Nebraska.
Welcome to the party.
All right, 7:27. Evan Bland from the World Herald coming up in about an hour. Nebraska baseball, number 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. They'll take on Ohio State. Nebraska's path actually is okay. But we also will discuss the expectations. I finally saw something out of Will Bolt that, God dang it, Will, he doesn't do all the time, but he needs to do more of. When he chatted with Tom Chattel, I've been disappointed in Will, but he did something that I'm like, I will tell you when we get into some Nebraska baseball discussion, because Nebraska, which I think wakes up today with an RPI of 31.
31.
So they're a 2 seed, probably maybe bottom 2 instead of
bottom
top
half,
2.
Yep.
But they will come to Omaha already in the NCAA tournament. What impact will that have? Evan will join us in an hour. Jacob Bigelow as well. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. All righty. By the way, if you want to go to the K, and the K was rocking this weekend, where the Royals swept the Oakland A's. They had the reunion of the 2014 team, and all of a sudden the Royals are 10 games over 500. They play Detroit beginning tonight. That's a really good series. And you know what? Tickets for Less has your tickets if you want to go to the K for the Tiger Series or any other series down the road. Tickets for Less is your place for the best seats to the best sporting events, shows, concerts. Yes, you can find Timberwolves Mav tickets on ticketsforless.com, and of course, Nebraska football tickets as well. Tickets for Less, always upfront, transparent pricing. What they deliver is what they say, and there are never any per-ticket fees when you get to checkout. Yep, they're the only ones. And don't forget, they're the only ones that you can do this with when you get to checkout. Put in my promo code, THEZONE, all one word, THEZONE, for an additional discount when you go to ticketsforless.com. Either download the app or go to the website. Local, right here, 145th and West Center. Stop by their office. Or again, go to the website, ticketsforless.com. Make your purchase, and don't forget to use my promo code, THEZONE.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. The Connor Happer Show.
The big Board of Regents meeting about alcohol at Haymarket Park. Regent Kathy Wilmot does not agree with the phrasing of it enhancing the experience for fans. She wants to point out that it's only enhancing the experience for adult fans. She wants the regents to think of the families who attend these events.
I want that regent to shut the hell up. Sometimes Papa needs a beer, am I right?
I just can't get fired up about this.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Partly sunny and warm for your Monday. Expect highs in the low 80s. Most of the day will remain dry, though can't rule out a stray shower or storm. Better chance for widespread storms overnight with severe potential. That severe threat continues into Tuesday morning. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. Traffic is building up a bit Dodge westbound in that usual area between 108th and 120th. And if you were traveling I-80 eastbound early this morning, it's slowing down right now between Giles and Highway 50. No new accidents to report, but if anything changes, I will get those updates to you. Stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Spring, it's the reward for surviving another winter. Fernando's, it's the reward for any day that ends in Y. Great Mexican food, awesome margaritas, and a wonderful family atmosphere. Fernando's, Omaha's favorite Mexican for more than 30 years.
Success in today's electrical market requires your company to be able to adjust to an ever-changing field. A partnership with IBEW Local 22 gives you that flexibility with access to journeymen, apprentices, proven training programs, marketing assistance, entry into markets not available before, ability to expand and contract with changing market conditions, and a benefits package for you and your employees. Contact Bob at IBEW Local 22 for additional details at 402-980-7596.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Why'd the kid jump off the boat?
I don't know. Why?
Peer pressure.
Oh. Good one, Ned.
Ned isn't funny, but Ned owns a boat, and you don't. So every time Ned tells another one of his unfunny boat puns, you're going to laugh loud and keep on laughing until you get a boat of your own.
A pier where you put a boat.
Yeah, I get it.
And when you do get a boat of your own, make sure you save money by bundling it with your home, auto, or other vehicles with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Oh, I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Roofing, siding, and gutters. Make the right call with the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
What a 4-hour steam bath.
So
starting to get gamey in here.
It is.
Welcome back to 1620 The
To
Sauna.
steal a line from the great Crash Davis, who is one of our fellow coworkers, he said, "We appear to be 2 levels from the direct sun in the studios this morning. It's wickedly gross."
It is. It really is. And I'm
Swamp Ass Monday on the
we
zone.
We have had some people that used to work on this station. Actually, 2 of them still work here. They will not be in today.
Smart.
That I don't know if they have water at their place of residency, but the shower is like the last thing they want to think about. This would be a really rough day for them.
Yeah.
It is.
It'd be everyone else.
87 degrees in the studio right now.
Oh my God.
Heat index
Feels like it.
146.
But this afternoon,
Hey.
John and Josh, I feel free. Guys, make sure you shower before you come in.
Hey, so our sign is going down here at 50th and Dodge. it goes on and it goes off.
Yep.
And we thought we'd beat the Crossroads sign.
I don't know. I think the Crossroads one's
87
laughing.
in studio. You know what? This just leads me to discussion about what's it like to sit in the South Stadium if you are taller than 6 foot.
Well done. Well done.
Okay. So it came out on Friday after we were off the air
We don't have
that
troughs
Nebraska's changing a little bit on what they're going to do with the stadium project. The South Stadium is going to stay up. They're going to start working on the East and West because they got to get some money. Got to have money first before you start doing some things. So they're going to try and generate some money from some chairbacks and some club level access on the East and West side. But I want to talk to my Southies. We're in this together. We have seats in the gigantic part of Memorial Stadium. We've been there for a long time. If you know, you know when you sit in the South Stadium that it's going to be tight quarters. But my gosh, there have been so many great moments that have happened in that end zone at Memorial Stadium. If I was doing this project, and I'm not, I would just build a new stadium. I would buy up land. You know, when you drive into Haymarket Park, where you can park on game days, there is gigantic fields.
Yep.
I would buy up all of that land. I would build a brand new Memorial Stadium. You could play in the current Memorial Stadium until that one is done. There would be no disruption. I know that that's not possible.
Oh, and then you'll
but
see
that's
the new one
what
going up too.
That's what I
there.
would do. And then you'd be like, oh my gosh, they're off campus. Well, if you really narrowed all this down, a brand new stadium is better than, putting lipstick on a pig of 100+ year stadium that you can only do so much with.
Putting a Band-Aid on a heart attack.
So I asked this of my Southies. When you hear the news that you're not going to get an upgraded section in a couple of years, are you disappointed? Are people disappointed that sit in South Stadium that there really will be no accoutrements moving forward, at least for the time being? Because there were some that were excited about the future and know that this has to happen. Others were, what's going to happen? Am I going to be kicked out of the stadium for 2 years? But I wonder, are people disappointed? And then the other part was, you have to do something with South Stadium. So they're not going to tear it down, but what do you do with South Stadium?
I would guess, and you being a season ticket holder there, I'm sure have a much stronger opinion on this, so I might be completely wrong. I would assume if this was me, initially I've been so excited about it because I would have felt like you're going into the stadium project knowing, okay, so if we are going to demolish South Stadium, we're going to have a plan for all of the season ticket holders there, at least some way to accommodate them in some way, shape, or form, or have some type of reduced ticket price where we would have to relocate them. The more confusion or up in the air that was, I would assume most people that have season tickets in the South Stadium were thinking, we just want to know if you're going to keep us here and there's going to be nothing done to it. That's fine. We just want to know what's going on. So I would think right now, after Friday's news, that you're probably okay with that. Now, here's the one thing that Troy Dennon said, and this is why I don't think you are off on suggesting a new stadium. Because when Troy Dennon said, he was talking about the timetable and said there's no urgency with a clock ticking. That's what he said. The only clock that's ticking is the make sure you get it right clock. Isn't the most full plan would be to have to relocate anybody. You don't have to worry about any type of contingency. You don't have to do any of that. You watch the new one being built while you're at the old one. It becomes a huge talking point. I'm thinking about recruiting too, as they have this state-of-the-art facility already existing. Then as you're watching the final games of Memorial Stadium, as that new, beautiful stadium is going to be erected, and it's right there in sight. You don't think that that's not exciting as well for people? I get it.
Would you have to have an athletic director?
Huge.
We are eventually going to move out of Memorial Stadium. We're going to deliver a state-of-the-art stadium in Nebraska. You're going to get a our new stadium, it is going to change a lot of things. That beautiful football facility that we built, that we connected to the stadium, we can't build a ramp from there all the way over Haymarket. New stadium, but that's never going to happen.
I just love the location that you suggested there.
Oh, if
Because
Nebraska,
you are then
if
seeing
Nebraska had a facility to play in that would not be 3 hours away, you could entertain this idea, because then you could build a new stadium on the current site.
Right.
You can't do that. So now you have to play with this. I will tell you another thing about this whole process that started with Trev's presentation. Do you know what one of the wildest things about this was, as either Board of Regents were listening to the plan and going, show me the money? Or people internally were like, how am I going to explain to ticket holders that they're out of the stadium for at least 2 years? Or, do you realize how large South Stadium is, and that there is going to be a gigantic wind tunnel come through there?
Right.
You know what? Something that I was told by somebody in the spring game that was in some of those we ran across each other at the spring game, but was in some of those meetings, some of those original meetings about what they were going to do with the South Stadium. And I actually like some of the plans. I like the drawings. I think it was a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know there are people in the athletic department that did not realize that there are academic offices where South Stadium used to be?
Oh, really?
Yeah. that they're like,
what do we do there?
Somebody brought up like, hey, I think one of the academic programs now, that's their home. And like somebody was like, oh no, I think it's just empty. It's like you go downstairs, you got the locker room. It's like, looks like it did when, we vacated the second floors where the old football offices.
Yeah.
And then someone's like, no, that's an academic program that is in that building.
And then I'm just imagining looking down at a sheet of paper, looking at a plan and going, that might be a problem.
As they blow it up, they forget to tell the academic arm of the university that has taken over South Stadium.
Our floor's starting to shake a little bit. Should we be concerned here? There's a big wrecking ball coming our way. This is something we need to be alerted about.
Now,
do you know, was the wind tunnel thing discussed though? Because that's a big deal.
It was discussed by the head football coach.
Okay.
Sounds like Giant Stadium. Old.
Yeah, that's a real big deal.
So Rule is big on home field advantage.
Yes.
What can we do in our current setup of give us the best opportunity to win? Thus, changing sidelines and
pink locker room.
Sit there and went, if we tear down, because South Stadium, like you have to look at South Stadium when it's empty and you go, Jesus, that is mammoth.
Yeah, it is.
That's coming
especially
down.
during a state championship game is where you really see it.
Wide open.
Yep.
Wide open.
Yep.
And the wind that would roll through there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of like, I think Rule was like, or somebody brought it up to Rule, and then he went and moved it up the food chain.
Yeah.
Like, Coach, you're right. We can't do that to Tristan. Okay. We have to.
How are we going to ever recruit a kicker?
Now, I will give the people that got to go raise some money a tip here, because I think we're not very far away from Rule doing something publicly like a PSA to raise money.
Mm-hmm.
And then it becomes, are you going to donate to NIL, or are you going to donate to a stadium project?
Our new grass field.
Are you going to donate to NIL, or are you going to donate to move your seats? I would, if I was in the fundraising ticket world down in Lincoln, and I don't know how you'd go about this, but I'm just telling you as a Southie, I would try and find out every season ticket holder in the South Stadium that is over 6 foot tall.
Mm-hmm.
And I would present you with the opportunity to have more leg room and a chair back in the East or the West. And guaranteed, if you are over 6 foot tall, you are at least going to think about it. And I bet you are going to go, oh, where do I sign up?
Yeah. Take it in a heartbeat.
I feel,
like
hey,
but I also love that upper deck.
I might be 6'1" on my fake ID. I'm really only 5'11". Hey,
6'4"
You have a tough time there.
But anybody that is at least 6 foot or taller, I mean, God, can you imagine? Can you imagine if you are sitting in the South Stadium and you are like 6'3", 6'4"? I mean, you must ache for the entire offseason because of the 8 football games or 7 football games. You sit in that stadium and you're like crunched in. I would approach anybody that's over 6 foot tall and say, "Hey, see this chair back?
Yes.
See the club access? See how you will enjoy yourself."
Yeah.
Come
This
to the East and the West. It's a different view.
Be an East Sider.
Be
a West Sider.
No longer being a South Sider. hey, I know where you live in Omaha. You're already a West Sider. Why don't you stay West in Memorial Stadium?
The only time that I sat, the last time I guess I sat in South Stadium, I mentioned this a while back, was the Bill Callahan throat slash game against Oklahoma. We were near the top of the back of South Stadium. And that was actually okay because there was a little bit more space and it wasn't as crowded up there. So that was maybe
This is like a low key flex.
That might have been
sat there once.
Well, that might have been the money seats right there in the top area of South Stadium. So but I remember watching people get up and get out into the aisles. Oh my gosh, like older people too. It looked so miserable, just painfully miserable. That if you've been a longtime season ticket holder in the South Stadium, and as you're getting older, you probably, I think you'd even, well, I shouldn't say this. I'm not going to tell people how to spend their money, but if you were given the opportunity to have a little bit more legroom, a little bit more comfort, and just your overall viewing experience, and probably some better sight lines, I think you'd even pay a little bit extra for that.
And easy
as long as you have those tickets, and as long as they're not doubling your price.
So a couple of emails in the Equitable Bank inbox. John says it's easy. He says blow up Memorial Stadium. It's easy. 2 years playing home games in Kansas City. Okay, 3-hour drive. Most people drive 1 to 2 hours anyway.
Touché.
6 games a year, not a big deal. Come home to a great stadium. I was listening to John, and then he said blow up Wrigley. So I will not go any further.
No, I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so this is and so I'm asking the question.
He must have been.
If you have, I also must throw this out as a caveat.
Just blow up stadiums.
This is the kind of discussion we have when you haven't been to a bowl game in 7 years. Okay, with a extremely passionate and loyal fan base.
Yeah,
but your comfort matters. I just hope the power brokers in Lincoln don't take the loyalty for granted. Okay, don't take the loyalty for granted. I'm not saying they do, but don't ever do that because you're going to get burned. But this is from MB, who must be a Southie. And I say, are you disappointed? If you're a Southie, are you disappointed that nothing's going to happen? And you got to do something with it. What? MB writes in, disappointed? Hell yes. Want a hot dog during the game? Jimmy's already read ahead on this email. Plan on 15 minutes and a hike down and back up the goat path ramps. Have to take a leak? Another 15 minutes and expose yourself to 50 strangers in order to use pee troughs salvaged from Auschwitz.
Oh, wow.
South Stadium is a turd and long past its reasonable use. My brother-in-law refers to it as, is that supposed to be Stonehenge?
I think so.
Yeah. I think that's being kind.
But seeing steer, I mean, it kind of goat steer.
No, I do think people are disappointed that nothing's going to be done right now with South Stadium. And I don't think it's going to be imploded.
Yeah.
I mean, can you build up? I don't even, I don't know where you would go, but you have to do something.
Yeah.
We can talk about, hey, let's make East and West luxury and chairbacks and club access. And let's
South will be more blue collar.
But you got to do something.
And you're grinding in the South Stadium.
And
here's a Lunchable.
And sooner than later.
Yeah. Because that was my favorite thing about the rendering was what South Stadium was going to look like and having that tower essentially. Like that was really, really cool. See, and my thought is, I remember some of my first games at Memorial Stadium that you would be super packed in there. But then if you go to another venue, I remember I'd go to Arrowhead. I would go to Soldier Field. I'd go to other places where even if they had a chair back, like it was uncomfortable. It was tight. That's all you knew. Now in the last decade or so that you've had more stadium renovations or new stadiums where old stadiums were just completely demolished and you brought up new stadiums, that luxury that I think enough people, even Nebraska fans, have been to other venues in the Big Ten. You've been to Minnesota. You've been to other places where it's more spacious. once you start to experience that, you start to look back at your own product and you say, yeah, I love this, the memories that I have here. But I think at some point, especially as we all get older, I mean, hell, my first games were when I was in my teens, that you get older, you start to appreciate the comfort part of it. You start to appreciate the ability to actually sit down and not be in pain or not having to wiggle your way through. So you appreciate that.
There's a lot of people that have moved to the club level because it's convenient.
Yep.
And it's
People in
a
our
comfortable
family.
place to watch a football game.
And I think a lot of people will bring up, oh, yeah, because the falls, especially there towards the end of the regular season, gets so cold. Hell no, it's in September, man. September, when you're sitting there, you're packed in there, and it's like it is in our studio right now. Like you're sweating bullets, and people are seeing your back sweat, and then you get off your seat, and you got a nice little butt imprint right there because of your sweat. That's like the most uncomfortable thing, and there's no avoiding that. But again, there was a time that's all you knew because that's how stadiums were built.
But
now that they are, they
There was
prioritize.
There was also a time where
comfort.
the home team was winning a lot.
You didn't care.
And even though you were
You're right.
uncomfortable,
You're right.
you were like, I could bear this.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Now the home team isn't winning, and you're like, where's my comfort?
Those tight confines, it was kind of charming. Now it's not.
Continues to add to the importance of 2024, the sense of urgency that you have as a fan,
Give 'em hope.
you have as a caretaker, you have as a head coach, and it's very noticeable.
Yeah.
Evan Bland coming up in about 40 minutes. Again, Nebraska baseball in town tomorrow to kick off the Big Ten tournament. One of 8 teams as a number 2 seed. They'll take on Ohio State. That's a 2:00 first pitch tomorrow, as they then will play on Thursday as well. Then could play Friday, could play Saturday, could play Sunday.
Play Saturday morning.
But are going to the
All
NCAA
here.
tournament. They don't have to worry about that. How will that impact them? And they don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, man, we may blow a home regional. No, they just come. Maybe they play free and easy. We'll discuss that amongst a lot of other things with Evan Bland when he joins us. Jacob Bigelow stops by as well. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. Hey, it's golf season, graduation parties, weddings, and more, and your fit needs to be rad, even in a studio where it is now 89 degrees. You know what? When you're wearing something from Lindley, it just breathes for you. They want you to look good. So shorts, polos, fantastic golf gear from Peter Millar, Johnny O, great golf tech pants from Ballon, golf shoes from Johnson Murphy, all of the enhancements for your golf game, or just being comfortable and being outdoors, well-suited. Perfect option to get great styles for less as well, right next to Lindley Clothing. Top-notch staff at both places will find exactly what you need for any special event. Suits to jeans, weddings to the golf course, they've got you covered. They've been dressing men for 8+ decades. John, Marlene, and the entire crew, they are there to help you, and I can tell you that it is nice and comfortable in there today, unlike the studio. Sportswear to tailored clothing, Lindley Clothing, well-suited, has you covered in the Linden Market, 132nd in West Dodge.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
Attention Omaha parents, if you're looking for a fun, safe, affordable summer camp experience for your kids, look no further than Camp Croc. Located at Croc Center Omaha, just off of Kennedy Freeway and Q Street, Camp Croc runs weekdays from the end of May through August 9th. Kids ages 6 through 12 will enjoy all kinds of activities, from sports and character building to swimming and STEM projects. Plus, breakfast, lunch, and snacks are included. For more details, go to omahacroc.org. That's omahakroc.org.
News Talk 1290 Coil is your radio home for Omaha Storm Chasers baseball, proud AAA affiliate of the Kansas City Royals. Tune in to hear every pitch, every hit, and every out as the Chasers play at Warner Park and across the International League in 2024. With the voice of the Omaha Storm Chasers, Nick Batters, on News Talk 1290 Coil.
Tune in to 1290 Coil all season long for your Omaha Storm Chasers baseball as they take on the International League. It's Storm Chasers baseball on 1290 Coil.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Like eating out? Like saving money? Then get to Cops at 180th and Center, Shadow Lake Town Center, or 72nd and Jones for their daily specials. Tuesday is $3 off all burgers and sandwiches. Wednesday, buy any specialty pizza and get a one-topping 50% off. Then Thursday, all wings are $1 each when you order 10. And this just in, all Cops locations now offer their own delivery service. Click copspizza.com to see the menu. Cops, pizza, and so much more.
Attention baseball fans, are you ready for the ultimate college baseball championship experience this summer? Tickets for Less is giving you the chance to win big with their CWS VIP contest. One lucky winner, you're going to score 2 tickets to Game 4 of the CWS on Saturday, June 5th at 6 p.m. Plus, you'll get 2 all-inclusive VIP tailgate passes and a parking pass. Don't miss the shot at an unforgettable game day experience. Enter now at ticketsforless.com/contest for your chance to win the ultimate prize. That's ticketsforless.com/contest. The winner will be announced once the field is set for the series.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Now back to Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, no pressure rule. Win some football games. We won't discuss things like this in the offseason. Hey, but comfort matters. And I feel bad.
It does.
I feel bad for the people that sit in North Stadium because they are the ones that are completely ignored. They can't do anything with North Stadium. And it's not like that is a huge upgrade over your seating experience from South Stadium. A couple of tweets here on this discussion. By the way, the momentum to blow up current Memorial Stadium, build a new one is growing.
Oh,
not that we have any impact on it.
I see what you
I think there's more people that would be on board than even want to admit it.
They just want to see something blow
as
up.
long as, again, it can't be done because you don't want to displace anyone. You want to keep it at the original one and then have the new one. Well, you just built this state-of-the-art facility. As you bring out, they're not Amtrak in their way from one area to the other. As much as I think they could,
You
they
could
could
get a
figure something out
streetcar.
because, I mean, technology is amazing. Yes, there you go. Like the student athlete streetcar.
Sean says, as someone who was an original season ticket holder since 1964 when it was built, yeah, I'm actually disappointed because I asked the question, if you sit in the South Stadium in Lincoln, are you disappointed? University has and continues to do absolutely nothing towards South Stadium. I'm 51 and it's been the same since I was a kid. After Hours Jimmy says, am I the only one who prefers South Stadium? The view of the big board, being able to see the lines move and the play develop. I'd would much rather be there than North Stadium. Yes.
Yeah.
I like sitting in the end zones because if you're up high enough, you can see the play develop.
Yep.
And either got them coming towards you or away from you. C-Dog 923. I'm one of the nerds who likes South and North Stadium because of the all-22 view. As Jimmy was alluding to, as a football junkie, it's much easier to see the play develop.
I like where we sit in South Stadium.
Husker Corn Steve says, are all the troughs still operational?
Forever. They like the Crossroads marquee. They will endure.
What would be the modern version? I mean, I know it'd be toilets.
Those are
actual urinals, but could we like actually modernize the trough, make it really
have someone hold
enjoyable
it for you?
experience?
How would you modernize
That's what
a
I wonder.
trough?
I don't know. That's I'm trying to think about that. Where you don't have to completely go away from the trough.
Could
but
I
it's,
give you a hand,
It's a lot
sir?
more enjoyable experience where you're not exposed to everyone. I guess maybe the trough, but it has like little dividers.
Could I hold the divider?
I guess
for
that
you?
would be
then
a
that
urinal.
like loses the enjoyment of
That
the
is
trough.
true.
Maybe enjoyment's not the right word.
Enjoyment, but
the experience of the
All
trough.
I don't even want to say the charm of the trough, but yes, the experience of
Trough
the trough
is about convenience getting in and out.
Yep.
Okay, I'm a fast peer. I mean, I get in and out, man. I ain't dilly-dallying around.
Well, you're not
unless
confined
I
to a
have-
space.
Unless if I drink a certain brand of beer,
Yeah,
then I'm about a minute. I think the longest I've ever gone is like a minute 45. Like,
Oh, wow,
like
okay.
no hands, minute 45.
Oh, like Jimmy Dugan.
But usually I get in and out, man. I'm getting older, and that bladder's got some issues
That
with
was
it.
some good paying.
In and out. Okay, that's the thing about the trough, man. You can talk about convenience. People don't want to hang out in the bathroom in the line.
No.
Okay, there's some people you like to talk to. Others are like,
That's why I say you got to hold on to the troughs.
No one stays
because
there
you're
the
not
whole game.
confined. You're not
Get
confined to
in
a
and out.
space.
Get in and out.
Yep. It's like, I can make room over there.
Just stand at the
Absolutely, I can get
trough.
in over there.
Make friends.
Now we got South on North crime.
Here we go.
Sean chimes back in. North Stadium practically brand new. They should have nothing to bitch about. My best friend is in North Stadium. You should start by gutting everything underneath, then work the top part of South Stadium, then the original seats in South Stadium.
It's like Biggie and Tupac all over again.
John says, if you blow up Memorial Stadium and no one can go to the games for 2 years, people will be so ready to get into the new stadium, the chance of losing fans is small. If you just tear down the South Stadium and 30,000 people have to watch from home for 2 years, there's a good chance that a lot of them will decide watching from the couch is just fine.
Well, that was always going to be the risk. And we talked about it when this first was proposed of what you're going to do at the South Stadium. And if you keep people away for a certain amount of time and the team, maybe they've made some incremental progress, but nothing that is major, you do run that risk. People who go to Nebraska games every Saturday, sit in the same seats, are used to that vantage point. You are forced to have alternate plans unless you find a seat somewhere else in the stadium. That you do run that risk. There's no doubt that would have to be a concern if you displace someone from their seats and they're gone for 2 years. That now all of a sudden, hey, I got a new thing going on, and the team's okay, but I don't feel like it's must watch for me to get back there and experience it.
Look at the areas of that stadium that have grown. The club seating and then the 600 level.
Yep.
Because there's convenience and it's comfortable to sit up in the 600 level. I mean, you may
nice.
not like heights and you're way up there. It's actually not a bad seat.
Watch
But
the
it's
sunset.
it's the convenience. You have your own vomitories.
Yes.
You have your own escalator up there. That's
Concession
the
stands
The
right
600, yes, the 600 level is popular along with the club seating. Why? Because there's convenience, and you just are there to watch the game. You're not there to play Survivor on your plank where you have seat 3 and you hope that by the end of the game you're not on seat 1 because seat 1 and 2 they are in the aisle. Which
it's a
happens a lot.
Yeah.
8:02. Evan Bland coming up bottom of the hour. Jacob Bigelow a little bit later as well. Just win, baby. Just win.
Should that be the logo? Either win or blow it up.
There's another
the
T-shirt.
program.
Backup T-shirt idea.
Win or blow up the stadium. Now we're just holding the stadium. Now we're putting the stadium in hostage type of a situation.
Hey,
here.
rule, no pressure, but if you don't win this year, we're going to tear down your stadium.
And we don't really have a plan.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. Hey, don't blow it up if you are like you get to the trough as a guy. And in the past, when you were a little bit younger, you got excited to go to the trough at halftime, man. You timed it perfectly before the clock hit 0 for halftime. You were out of your seat. You were down the stairs and you were in the trough. And you were excited to do it. And you were there for your buddy to your left and your buddy to your right. And you just kept everything straight, okay? You didn't sprinkle on anybody else. But then all of a sudden, as you got a little bit older, things started to happen. You sprinkled to your left, you sprinkled to your right, and it caused a lot of consternation. And then what happened is they were getting under your skin, and you were getting under the skin when you'd go back to your seat with your seatmate. Maybe it was your wife, maybe it was your kids. And so after a while, you couldn't focus on the game because people were angry at you, okay? And then you're like, geez, I can't, that belly fat I'm growing, it's not helping me keep my seat. So all of these things could be low testosterone. That's how Nebraska football impacts you. And as you look at your life in the mirror and you think, okay, as I'm getting a little bit older, what are some of these other things? Because now I've got my attention span, my stress, focus issues. I can't even do the simple tasks because I'm thinking about that trough experience that I had on Saturday. I go into my office on Monday and I'm like, geez, I don't know what I'm doing. Well, it can't be just bad trough play. It could also be low testosterone. And that's where mentality comes into play. If you go to the website right now, lowtusa.com, you'll find out what are some of the more symptoms of low testosterone in us men and how their FDA-approved testosterone treatment with their board-certified physicians can help you. Go to lowtusa.com right now. Schedule an appointment. You get a physical, you get a consultation. They'll show you all of the results. And then if you have low T, they will present a plan to you to get back the energy and confidence so that the next time you go to Memorial Stadium and are faced with a trough, you're going to be straightforward and you're not going to be dabbling on your left or your right. And you're going to get in, you're going to get out, and you'll be able to spend more time with the people you love and the sport you love and the team you love. That's how Mentality wants to help us men. LowTUSA.com is the website. Mentality is the word.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. Things picking up on Dodge both directions. Eastbound slow around 180th and westbound slow near 108th. I-80 westbound getting a little bit slower right now between 42nd and 60th. And that usual morning congestion JFK northbound right now between Chandler and Q Street. Remember to stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
I have never seen this before. Hi, John with Saul's Jewelry and Loan. The price of gold is the highest it's ever been. Now is the time to get the best price on your broken jewelry, chains, and diamond jewelry. Saul's has been around a while, and trust us, now's the time. Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
When it comes to protecting your home, J. Stenick Contracting takes pride in ensuring every detail is handled. Roofing, siding, gutters. When it comes to the exterior of your home, J. Stenick Contracting has you covered. Have you noticed stains on your ceiling this winter? With storm season around the corner and the damage it can bring, let J. Stenick Contracting ensure that your roof is durable and holds up against the weather this spring and summer. When you need an honest assessment, J. Stenick Contracting has you covered. JSCRestoration.com.
Food always tastes better when it's fresh from the farm, and you can get that farm fresh flavor from more than 100 Nebraska farmers and producers at Ellsworth Crossing in Waterloo. At Ellsworth Crossing, all their products are naturally raised and taste amazing. Free-range chicken and eggs, pork, Wagyu beef, bison, and more. Fresh produce, milk and dairy, including ice cream and cheese. Open Tuesday through Saturday, all year long. Ellsworth Crossing, 26902 West Center Road in Waterloo. On Facebook and Instagram, and at ellsworthcrossing.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/radio. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at HIMS, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/radio and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
Hop into the driver's seat of a new Ford truck or SUV now at Baxter Ford. Choose from hundreds of new Ford F-150s, F-150 Lightnings, F-250s, and F-350s. Baxter Ford has over 250 new SUV models available, including Bronco, Bronco Sport, Escape, Edge, Explorer, Expedition, and more. Plus, all our vehicles come with fair, transparent pricing and no dealer fees. So you only pay for the vehicle, not the paperwork. Get started at BaxterFord.com.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
$88 degrees in studio.
I had to lose the hat.
I opened up the door thinking that it would help. I think it's hurt.
It somehow got warmer.
Welcome back in. Hour number 3, Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Jimmy here as well. Evan Bland coming up at the bottom of the hour. Did you guys miss over the weekend? We said goodbye to something that was a huge, has a huge place in Nebraska athletics. Was not a particular trough.
We said goodbye. What did we say goodbye to this weekend?
The Longhorn Network signed off for the final time at the final Texas baseball game. Keith Moreland and Greg Swindell were in the booth.
Nice.
They had an emotional goodbye to the Longhorn Network, which was one of a kind.
Killed the league.
It Like I'm not being sarcastic or facetious, which I've always wanted to say more of. The word facetious
is a good placement.
Yeah. When you think of Nebraska athletics and the Big 12 to the Big 10, in the first minute and a half, you have to mention the Longhorn Network.
That's where it started.
Yep.
It's where Skynet became self-aware.
So the Longhorn Network is no longer, because they're moving to the SEC,
Uh-huh.
which they have their own network.
It's called ESPN.
One, how much programming have you ever watched on the Longhorn Network?
I watched one game, Iowa State, Texas once.
I used to watch the old Texas games.
And that was
when it
because
started.
this was when we used to have Sage Rosenfels on quite a bit. And Sage was doing the game for the Iowa State Texas broadcast. I'm like, yeah, I'll tune in. That was the only time.
First of all, you couldn't
I think
find
I might have
it.
watched a baseball
You
game
couldn't
once.
find it. I went to a hotel like 2-3 years ago. I was on the road, and I could watch the Longhorn Network, but I couldn't get Big Ten Network.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
Where were
how is
you?
this?
Texas.
Were you in Waco?
You know
Were you in
what? I
Austin?
was in. I think I was in Cincinnati.
Ah, okay. Oh,
which was kind of odd.
that is odd.
Yeah.
So
Their chili sucks.
The only really show I've ever seen on the Longhorn Network, they used to, when Mac Brown was the head coach, they would do a live show in his office.
That's right.
And it was really good because then they
Texas.
would start breaking down film and
Yeah.
things like that. But yeah, the Longhorn Network is no more, and it will always have a place in the demise of the Big 12.
Augie Garrido's rant. That's where I first saw it.
Oh, yeah.
The unedited.
The
Much
unedited,
better.
yeah, which I think coaches should still play to teams to this very day.
Rest in peace, Augie. That's not what killed him, surprisingly.
Do we know if Matthew McConaughey had any presence on the final broadcast? Too?
He was not on there.
Did they play the national anthem with Bevo just laying there? Or crapping at the 99 Big 12 championship right in front of my seats?
They did not. But if you think about what,
Becomes a burger
that
at
drove
the
a
end.
wedge between Texas and the rest of the teams in the Big 12 that ultimately led to,
This.
Colorado
Yeah.
and Texas A&M and Mizzou and Nebraska.
This is our conference. We get our own network. We're better than you.
When I first heard this concept like this, so I'm not. There's a guy named Paul Aaron. People are familiar with him. He actually proposed to Nebraska back in the 90s, not to this extent, but he wanted to have a
Husker television network.
a Husker television network that would show old games.
Yeah.
It would carry some games. It'd have some studio shows. It'd have all the coaches' shows. The Sports Nightly would be aired on it.
Yeah.
I
That would've
heard
done well.
him give a presentation. I'm like, wow, because I would be all up on the old games. It wouldn't just
Right.
be football. It'd be like across all the sports. Nebraska was actually one of the first places that proposed something like this. It never got off the ground.
And I think it could have done well.
I think
for
it would
the
have done
fan
well.
base.
Think about how well
It's
that
a
would have done in
national
COVID.
fan base.
During COVID, that thing would have been a monster.
Yeah,
You just go back and watch
I don't
all
think
the
it would have
games.
been big enough that it would have disrupted a league.
No, not at all.
It would not have been the revenue stream that they thought the Longhorn Network was, or whatever it became.
Yeah, because
hell, I'd still watch a Nebraska channel like that today.
I wish they would have one. It would, there's so many limitations now because of their TV contracts.
Right.
It would be great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they don't have like a YouTube channel where they just have
all old games. Old coaches shows.
I mean, doesn't Nebraska, they don't maybe own all that content, but they
Yeah.
have access to it because that's them.
Yeah, well, so why couldn't
Good people at,
because they have
Husker
their
Tapes
YouTube
or
channel
whatever.
that does their Husker Sports Network stuff, but why couldn't they have? Is it just because of the different broadcast rights that they couldn't have that, like the archive games?
I don't think in this case there was proposed that Nebraska would own their own network. It was a separate entity.
Okay,
so they'd have to purchase the rights to games.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that would
So-
cost you a little bit.
So the Longhorn Network is gone. Bevo is dead. That's what we've learned from this.
Now a steak.
That
But
is
Keith
really-
Moreland was emotional, like super emotional, saying goodbye. I bet for like a Texas fan, I bet it was like Christmas every day.
Yeah.
Well,
you
yeah,
get you get all
that
your live
content.
sports.
Yeah,
Crying.
getting all that content.
Greg Abbott.
Well, so I
coming
mean,
out.
think about that from a Nebraska standpoint when we talk about the Big Ten Network, that it essentially neglects baseball up until really the last part of the regular season. I mean,
Longhorn
if
Network
you
did it.
could have your ball bat sports, or you could have certain sports that are always available when the Big Ten Network is showing reruns of Campus Eats, well, then there you go. It would probably be way more popular in the spring.
I wish
I did see campus
Hey,
seats over the weekend. It's good.
I wish I mean, like even Creighton and Omaha. Wouldn't you like them to have their own dedicated YouTube channel where
would
they
be
show
nice.
old games?
Yeah.
People would watch.
There was we were talking to Sandy Buddha.
I mean, wouldn't you like to wake up in the morning and go, man, I'd like to watch that Bob Harstad, Chad Gallagher game
Yeah.
from back in the day at the Civic Auditorium.
Oh, yes. But John Bishop brought this up.
You
We're
laugh,
going
but
up
I'd do
to
something like that.
the game on Tuesday, the Creighton baseball game. Coach Buddha was out there, and John was asking him about a game where it was some type of anniversary, and he came out and he coached in a tux. They were like, you would want to see that. I never heard of that. So immediately I'm like, I want to see that game. And he said he thought it was still out there. So I would love to be able to see some of those old games. I'd love to see old UNO football games.
I'd dress like
Some
Jack
good stuff.
Ramsey.
See Zach Miller running the option. See Brian Mushik, Eddie Ballgame Thompson. Oh, hell yeah. That'd be awesome. Watch old Creighton basketball games as well. That'd be so much fun. Watch some old basketball games from the Sapp Fieldhouse for Omaha men.
Well, let's see. So Creighton and Omaha can't do it because Creighton has, I guess, the Big East Digital Network, and then their contract with FS1 or Fox and CBS, their
Billy
regular
Vision.
TV contracts. Omaha now with the Summit League Network. you know?
Yeah.
But I always wonder, the one thing that, ticked off people about the Longhorn Network is because they could control their own inventory.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your stuff. You should be able to control the message or,
In theory, yes.
Yeah.
State-run TV.
I mean, it essentially is. That's the vision behind that. It made a lot of sense. It was the execution of it in the midst of negotiating conference-wide TV deals that you're thinking to yourself, if you're the other members of this, well, wait a minute. So do you guys have your own network, and yet you're still going to get a slice of the pie when it comes to the conference network? This doesn't, there's obviously something a little bit out of whack there. But as far as the idea behind it to promote your brand, especially a brand that was as strong, I shouldn't say is still as strong as Texas, it made sense. It was just it got swept under the rug with all the other.
The ideas that were shared were pretty great because they would like, hey, why don't we show a game and then we'll have a panel of the guys.
Oh yeah, it's a great
we'll
idea.
have Turner and Rozier and Fryer, and they can break down Rozier's UCLA game or some of his great runs.
Well, like you said with COVID.
Yeah, you have the game of the week, and you get people involved with it.
You could still
the
do
major
that.
contributors of the game
It's great.
itself, and then be able to have like a roundtable or panel discussion. You know how many Husker fans would eat that up? That'd be
John
amazing.
Walters in Iowa State, they did that with that 05 tornado game with Colorado during COVID. Just people were like, all right, let's talk about things. And this is Nebraska. There's so many stories I'd watch all of it.
I remember the network during COVID re-aired a bunch of the classic games, but it's on the radio. So if you had a channel dedicated to where you could actually watch those, and you could not only show the game, but then have a post-game discussion with key contributors of that, I think that would have been a monster.
Like the podcast, you see these shows, they all do these podcasts now where they go back and rewatch the shows and they talk, like Scrubs has one, Office, obviously, all these shows.
Well, they had purchased the rights or the archives to Devaney's football show they used to do at 10
Oh,
11.
really?
You know, the famous show where Switzer showed up with tacos?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had purchased the rights or the archives. And so they're like, hey, we could also have that on network. They were kind of ahead of their time, but I don't think the right people were in charge in Lincoln that were like, oh, okay, this sounds like a great idea. But I don't think you can tell the seismic shifts in college athletics without including the Longhorn Network. And now it's done. And now it's done. And then another seismic shift is happening and is coming.
Yeah. Well, go back to this Nebraska thing. If you remember, what was the ultimate pushback? Or did it just never get enough momentum behind it?
Well, it wasn't going to be UNL owned.
Okay. And that's where, and they wanted to have it a university. Okay. I guess that makes sense then. That would have been awesome though. Because I think that would, I think again to the spring sports. I think back to COVID when we wanted anything to have the ability to go to the archives, but then also to have some live sports, especially the ones that the Big Ten Network is not going to air. That would have been great for that.
Well, it would have been, like the games that under PD's watch that were pay-per-view.
Yes. Yeah, there you go.
They would have been on this channel.
Yeah.
Just like the Longhorn Network.
Mm-hmm.
But you could get all the Olympic sports.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where
until these big TV contracts came in and they were like, no, we handle all that.
we handle it. We don't necessarily get to show a lot of it.
All right, Evan Bland's coming up here in a little bit. You know what? BTN, because of Nebraska fans, their outrage a few years ago, BTN now carries all of the Big Ten baseball games. And they will do that beginning bright and early tomorrow morning. And then Nebraska plays at 2. Weather permitting, they take on Ohio State.
In Omaha, here, where we live.
Charles Schwab Field.
There'll be good crowds. Weather's good, there'll be good crowds.
And there should be good weather after we get
And
through
if
tomorrow.
they make it to Sunday, there'll be 15,000 plus.
You're going to have to open up those outfield concessions.
But the Big Ten, well, let's hope, because this has been the other thing, is they've been caught off guard of large crowds, and that's not good.
By the way, so I don't know if you heard last Monday at the show. So we were 2 days out at Haymarket Park. Remember the first weekend of the beer sales was a little choppy with the lines? Fantastic. And they had over 6,000 both Saturday and Sunday when we went. I don't think I waited more than 2 minutes for a beer. They got it down.
You talked about all the debauchery.
I'll be sitting with y'all tomorrow.
Throwing kegs in left field.
I'll be sitting with y'all drinking beer tomorrow.
It's a fantastic thing. It was nice at Haymarket to do that. I mean, used to doing it more at Charles Schwab Field.
All right, Evan will join us here in a little bit. Jacob Bigelow coming up with some thoughts on the Final Four in the NBA, which everybody thought it would be Minnesota, Dallas, Indiana, and Boston. Or at least one of those teams you thought it would be. Timberwolves to win the series minus 170. I just hit because I'm getting plus 125 the Boston Indiana series to go over 5.5 games.
T-Wolves and Celtics both in 5.
Whoa, that would not win me some money on one of those. Why you got to be so selfish?
Why is it everyone calls me that? And no, I'm not negative.
No, you've really
I really have turned a new leaf. Yeah,
it's nice.
Good.
It's a green leaf.
It's positive Jimmy. We got positive Phil, and we got positive Jimmy now.
And negative Nick. Although not today.
Gosh, I was really dark on Monday and Tuesday. I don't know why. I was in a weird place, man.
I heard. It's mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Partly sunny and warm for your Monday. Expect highs in the low 80s. Most of the day will remain dry, though can't rule out a stray shower or storm. Better chance for widespread storms overnight with severe potential. That severe threat continues into Tuesday morning. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. If you are traveling either direction on Harrison, get ready for some delays. Multiple crashes, one at 135th, another at 180th. And the intersection of 108th and L has flashing red lights in all directions still. This is causing major traffic delays. I would avoid this area if possible. Any updates and I will get them to you. Stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
Honk if you love trucks and bucks. The Nebraska Lottery's most popular scratch ticket is back, and you could win one of 8 beautiful new blue trucks. Visit any Nebraska Lottery retailer and play today. Top prize odds 1 in 336,000.
Host is roasting every morning. At Host Coffee Services, every cup of coffee served comes with a promise of quality, innovation, and a dash of fun, ensuring your workday is as delightful as your coffee break. Call Host Coffee Services today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee Services is always roasting something good for you.
Watching a ball game at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is pretty awesome. Oscar's offers the MLB package, so your team is always on their upgraded audio-video system, and nothing is better than watching the game with a cold frosty one, Oscar's Pizza, or award-winning char-buffed wings. And with daily lunch and dinner specials, it's really a no-brainer. So get ready to watch your favorite team play ball at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and takeout at 162nd and Maple.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
This week's sweet deal. Oh, maybe this should be the Zone deal, too. The Zone deal is Mexitli restaurant located in downtown Omaha. Mexitli has authentic Mexican food prepared in an artisanal way and with fresh products, highlighting the original flavors, the Mexican cuisine. With this deal, you'll receive 2 $25, $50 value for just $25. It's on sale this Friday, May 24th at 9 a.m. Get all the details at 1620thezone.com.
Evan Bland is going to join us here in the next segment. Lots on Nebraska baseball that firmly in the NCAA tournament. We'll be here in Omaha to play at 2 o'clock tomorrow against Ohio State in the stadium that Creighton just wrapped up their season. I will die on the hill that if Creighton was in the NCAA tournament, they would at least make it to Sunday. But what I don't know what the right word is to describe. We said confusing, weird.
Yeah,
confusing. Creighton finished 35-17. They finished 7-13 in a league in which they only won 2 Big East series. If you pressed a player and said, how would you describe this season? I don't think anybody would say disastrous, but I think you would be left like hollow. Because they're gonna be tough, man. You're gonna watch 4 teams play in Ohio.
Not disastrous, but disappointing.
Yeah,
for sure.
You're gonna watch 4 teams play in Ohio.
Yep.
In the Big East tournament, and you're gonna watch your chief rival, who you went 3-0 against, play on your field and possibly take a team picture.
Yeah.
What a weird year.
And you're gonna watch a team you are also 3-0 against in the same city be the number 1 seed at their respective tournament, the Summit League tournament too. It's Connor and I have talked about this. John and I have talked about this on the broadcast. You and I have talked about this. It might be, as far as covering local teams, probably the most confusing team to figure and results to figure based on if you're led to believe, because there's more than just injuries, but you can't tell the story without the amount of injuries they had. But one key one.
But are they that fragile? That fragile?
That's the thing.
It ruins their weekend?
That's the thing. You can't say that losing your ace all of a sudden takes a team that is still a 30-plus win team with sweeps over Coastal Carolina and Nebraska, and say that just one injury to your ace was your undoing in a conference that is better than it's been in previous years, but still not that good where you shouldn't be able to overcome that. That's the disappointment right there.
I think these are good discussions with Creighton baseball when it comes to what is the standard. I think first and foremost is getting to Ohio every year. That's where the Big East tournament is, because we're going to talk about the same thing when we get Evan here in the next segment. I have learned something over the last couple of weeks. There just aren't, and they're out there, and you know who you are, there just aren't enough people that care about Creighton baseball.
100%.
100%. Not enough people care about, like, you might be a die-in-the-wool Creighton basketball fan.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, Creighton baseball, okay. I don't know if maybe that signifies the need a recharge, but I found that we might care more on this station than a majority of people do because we like Ed. We have a good relationship with Ed. We carry the games. We like college baseball, and we all are wondering the same thing about Creighton. So I think we're going to find out who really cares about Creighton baseball over the next week or so.
Which is interesting to me, Gary, because it's another one of those programs. It's not like Creighton, unlike Omaha and Nebraska, don't recruit the state. There is so much local representation on that roster as well that I always feel with your passionate sports fans in the city that helps you gravitate a little bit more to that team and that product. I think a big part of it is where you're playing. I just don't think people have interest of going to that stadium week in and week out unless it's for the College World Series or some type of postseason event or the occasional Nebraska Creighton game. And even then, we've talked about this, that attendance has gone down. I think that's part of it as well. So there's just, and we hear from the people that are diehard baseball fans, diehard Creighton baseball fans, it is. I mean, we know you're out there, but yeah, you're right. There's not a lot of them.
There is a group of ardent supporters on the Hilltoppers that have been there from day one, especially with Ed. But there just doesn't seem that there is as much passion, for a program that has had pretty good history. But we'll get into this with Evan, the standard, because Tom Stell sat down with Will Bolt, who Will needs to be more feisty.
And he's got that in him.
Yeah, but he hasn't.
Yeah.
And that's him.
Yep.
Will Bolt needs to be more feisty. He needs to let his personality come out. If he doesn't want that stadium that they're currently playing in now, tell him. And he did. I like that. I like that Will Bolt. I don't like the passive Will Bolt. I like the feisty Will Bolt. That's the Will Bolt that went to the College World Series twice while he was playing here. Okay, that's why he's got this job. All right, stop being passive. Be feisty. And I know sometimes he picks and chooses his spots and he's got to push the right button with this team, but I like the one I heard this weekend. And I like that he's talking about that stadium is no longer special. Whoo!
Yep.
I hope you're listening. Hope you're listening over there in North Stadium because he's speaking the truth.
Yep.
But the standard, is it the same for Nebraska and Creighton baseball? Evan Bland from the World Herald joins us next on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
Make the right call. John Higgins Weather Car, the home of the roofery.
When it's time to replace or repair storm damage, make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the local, trusted, and proven choice. No one has installed more DaVinci roofs, and there's a reason why John Higgins Weather Guard is the nation's leader. Community member, community supporter. Make the right call.
John Higgins Weather Car, the home of the roofery. Make the right call.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
The headlines remind us daily the world is a dangerous place. The elites in charge say everything's fine. Stop noticing. But you know better. And your gut knows that time is short to prepare for a world that is 4 missed meals away from chaos. My Patriot Supply has helped over 3 million families become more self-reliant and is the company Americans trust to prepare. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contain delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Secure at least one food kit for each family member. For a limited time, save $200, plus get free shipping on all their Ready Hour 3-month emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour Foods. My Patriot Supply also has solar power generators, water filtration units, biomass stoves, heirloom seeds, and critical survival gear. Shop mypatriotsupply.com today. mypatriotsupply.com.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Spring has arrived, and Lenaha has everything you need to revitalize your landscape. The best shrubs, perennials, and freshly dug trees, all grown right here in Nebraska. Lenaha Nurseries. your homegrown headquarters since 1974. Think spring. Think Lanaha's Garden Center. We offer the area's most complete selection of landscape supplies and high-quality plant material for your projects. We're your one-stop shop and homegrown headquarters. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lanaha Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
Would you just give your house key to criminals? Having your personal information on the internet is like giving a thief the key to your home. They can take everything that's valuable to you anytime. But JoinDeleteMe.com can help you protect yourself. Online data brokers compile information about you and sell it to people who could ruin your life. But JoinDeleteMe.com scours the web, removes the personal information you don't want seen, and prevents data brokers, scammers, identity thieves, even political enemies from getting personal information that could hurt you, your family, or your reputation. You'll get regular reports detailing what they find and remove. And JoinDeleteMe.com isn't AI. It's real people working to keep your data safe. Keep your private life private with JoinDeleteMe.com. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/deal and use promo code DEAL at checkout. Go to joindeleteme.com/deal and enter code DEAL at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/deal, code DEAL.
1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, tomorrow the Big Ten baseball tournament starts here in town. Weather's good. There'll be good crowds. That's just how it works. Nebraska plays at 2 against Ohio State. Of the 8 teams that are here, Nebraska only played 3 of them during the regular season. We welcome in our good friend from the World Herald, Evan Bland. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, I want to start there. We got a lot of discussion about Nebraska baseball because this is the start of what'll be an interesting at least 2-week run of Big Ten tournament, then NCAA. Will sat down with Tom Chattel the other day, and Tom wrote about it this weekend. And you've written about Haymarket Park, either before beer sales, after beer sales, but also that ballpark is starting to show its age. I want to start with this question, and what's your reaction to this quote? Because Will was here when that ballpark opened. He's now the caretaker of that place. He said, I will say, quote, I will say this, all the guys who were on the 01, 02, 05 World Series teams were recruited to this ballpark, and that was 25 years ago. That was a big drawing point. This is the crown jewel of the Midwest. It's a powerful thing. This is what propelled things. Your opinion on how Will looks at his stadium and what he wants is what?
My opinion is that the on the field component is really good with the turf and the sight lines. Like if you're a fan and you're showing up, the experience is pretty strong, even more so now with alcohol sales. But I think it's the behind the scenes stuff that they would like to see an improvement on. The player development piece, that open spot there behind the left field side in foul ground, that like they would love to have some player development stuff out there. And by that's kind of a buzzword, right? Or buzz term, player development. But what that means is they want to be able to have like a little cafeteria out there. They want to be able to have their own weight training, strength training area out there. They want to be able to maybe have something in the realm of a pitching lab out there where guys can develop, where everything's centrally located. As it stands, Nebraska players have to drive across the bridge to Memorial Stadium for food. They have to go over there to the Hawks Center for an indoor practice, and that part would remain the same. But what they're looking for is a centralized development hub. And I think that's kind of the next step for this program, because as Will said, the attraction of what became Haymarket Park 25 years ago did draw some of those bigger crowds, and that jump started the golden age of Nebraska baseball and the sport. And it's sort of stagnated since that time. They have the Gordon facility, which is functional, but is, it's 15 years old. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's kind of the vision, is they want to find a way to really allow all of their player development stuff to be in one space and really catch up to be at least on equal footing with a lot of their contemporaries, at least in the Midwest.
How much of this season, Evan, because I know these types of movements to get improvement shouldn't be based on one season, but Will, also going back to that article with Tom, talking about what the standard should be with this program and being at the very least an NCAA tournament team, and you want to eventually get into that conversation about hosting. But how much of this season, Nebraska going to the postseason, both of the Big Ten tournament, but more importantly, the NCAA tournament, how much can that aid in Will Bolt's vision of having better facilities, better opportunities for their players, and better opportunities to recruit?
Well, I would have said a few years ago that, hey, they have some momentum and now they're going to get rolling, but they had a ton of momentum in 21 as well.
Yep.
And it didn't really turn into anything. They didn't even make the Big Ten tournament a year later. Nothing really changed. I think the difference now is at the top. I think, I've talked to Troy Dannon about Haymarket, and he's motivated to see some improvements there. So I think that's a starting point. And I think also their relationship with the Salt Dogs has evolved even in the last 5 or 6 months. You saw how they were able to figure out a deal to get alcohol sales done so both sides could benefit. I think you'll probably see something similar, whether that's in the next year or two, or both of these sides are able to find some common ground with some different leadership, with some maybe different, starting points for negotiations. I think there's too much benefit for Nebraska to continue to do nothing. If they have to concede some of their space to the Salt Dogs on the other side, I think they'll do it. It's going to cost some money, obviously, and in this era of financial uncertainty, you don't want to go too overboard with that. But I do think there's motivation. One thing Troy Dannon told me that kind of stood out was, like, if you have a program that's successful, you want to invest further in that success. And I think that's the thing that Nebraska baseball has proven, is that even without top of the line, behind the scenes facilities, they're still contending in the Big Ten most years. They're still this year comfortably in as an at-large team. So I think there's this sort of acknowledgement that this is a winning program and it can take another step if it has more support around it.
When Will talks about his pitching plans for Omaha, it will look like what?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm anxious to ask Will about that. They might be talking today. I don't know. Like, I could kind of see it either way. Like, maybe you do start Sears on short rest again. Maybe you don't. I mean, Jackson Brockett pitched 2 innings on Saturday, so maybe he comes back on short rest as the Tuesday guy. It's an interesting spot for Nebraska, right? Because they don't have to win the Big Ten. I don't even think they have to win a game in the tournament to be kind of where they want to be in a week. So to me, I mean, I think you could keep Sears and McConaughey on somewhat normal rest. Maybe they pitch either Wednesday, Thursday, or Thursday, Friday, and you just kind of figure things out in the opener against the so-so Ohio State team and take that chance. Like, I think that's probably what I would do, as opposed to getting your starting pitching, getting the rhythms off further. So I think you can piece it together. And I know that's saying a lot because they haven't been able to do that very often, but the way that Christo's been pitching and Caleb Clark's been pitching, and if you get Brockett a couple of innings, I think you can figure it out on a Tuesday in Omaha with a decent crowd behind you. But maybe they won't. Maybe they'll go the other way and really put a lot of emphasis on it and get, Sears and McConaughey starts out of the way and give them extra rest into the regional next week. So I'll be curious what they do, because it is a different situation than Nebraska's been in, right? A year ago, they had to win the tournament just to get into the NCAA. So we'll see.
Well, and with that, Evan, and by the way, you're right about Caleb Clark. Caleb Clark is a guy trending in the right direction. His last few appearances, he's looked like the guy that they wanted in that starting rotation the last couple of years. But beside that, this tournament, and you're right, they're going to go to the NCAA tournament. But if you're looking at this program that has lacked that breakthrough moment, like 2021 was great. It was a regular season title, but we saw that in 2017 as well. And unfortunately, they didn't have a Big Ten tournament that year. They were on the cusp of that same year against Arkansas, but they haven't had that breakthrough moment. If they were to be there on Sunday and win the Big Ten championship, in your opinion, on the things that this program has accomplished historically, obviously the College World Series, but also winning conference titles, which you have to go back to a tournament of 2005, would that be that breakthrough moment, in your opinion, if they could win in Omaha this week?
I think the value of them winning in Omaha would be akin to the Jackson Brockett no-hitter. Like, I think it would be really big psychologically.
Yeah.
and maybe give them momentum heading into the NCAA tournament. But I don't know how much it would change necessarily the narrative for the season. I mean, they've finished a couple games out of first. If they get hot in Omaha, and they very well could. I think they have as good a chance to win the tournament as Illinois does. I mean, Nebraska has more pitching and better frontline starters than anybody else in the field. So, especially if you're able to start 2-0, I think you're in a really good spot. But yeah, I just, it's one of those things where if they win it, people will get excited, and there's going to be big crowds on Saturday and Sunday. And it would give kind of a spotlight to the program. We talked about it before, where it seems like in the last few years, like all of their biggest moments have come on the road, whether they're clinching regular season titles in sparsely populated venues, or they're playing regionals on the road and winning away from home. So I think there'd be value just to generate excitement and momentum among the fan base to celebrate in Omaha and have that moment. But I don't know that a week of getting hot against Ohio State and Indiana and whomever else necessarily it changes sort of the paradigm for this season. So I think it'd be exciting. I think it'd be an opportunity to take that momentum into the next week. But that's probably where I'd leave it.
Evan Bland of the World Herald joining us. So that leads me to my question, because you deal with it, and it's great that there are so many people that are passionate about Nebraska baseball. I mean, it was cultivated by Van Horn. It's kind of carried through. And Husker baseball Twitter can be a little unhinged. What would satisfy people right now on if it's a good season or not? Whether it be this year, because I think they're good, not great, or moving forward.
Well, I mean, it's all about the end of the season, right? Like as Nick said, kind of the baseline should be being in contention for the NCAA tournament, playing meaningful baseball into May, being able to check the RPI, and in years like this, you're already an at-large team, and that's hard, right? Everyone knows about the struggles of Northern teams and starting strong, and just the importance of those first 6 weeks in a way that's not the same for the SEC or some of the warmer weather schools. But, again, I think there would be value in some of this playing out in front of fans at home. Like, hosting a regional is fun in the sense of like, hey, you had a good season and you're rewarded for it. But it's been a long time since 2008. That's a whole generation of fans and kids and students that haven't been able to show up and see the excitement of a regional. You're able to kind of check in on TV, and it's just not the same. You guys would probably agree. I think a regional weekend is one of the most exciting things in the sports calendar, when you've got 4 teams and the gamesmanship of it and just the buzz in the ballpark. Every pitch matters. Like that's, I grew up when Nebraska was playing regionals at home, and like those moments were exciting at that time, really exciting. And I think that's part of the reason that a lot of that passion carries over, is people do remember how fun that time was. So, hosting a regional at some point, and the program's been very open about that goal, would be valuable. And then, making a run, right? Like they've been to the tournament a number of times since their last College World Series trip, but they haven't been back to a super since then. So find it the right draw. Hey, say Nebraska goes to Oklahoma in a week, like that's a team they nearly beat in mid-February. So why couldn't that team play into the second weekend? And so I think just finding a way to kind of break through that glass ceiling that's been in place since 2005, where they can't get past the opening round, would probably go a long way in sort of that next generation, seeing how exciting college baseball can be in Lincoln.
Go back to, you brought up some of the pitching and some of the guys. I mentioned Caleb Clark as a guy that I think could very well be an X factor if Nebraska needs to dig deep beyond the rotation. Is there a pitcher, whether we're talking about a closer, reliever, or someone who might have to be a stretch starter, is there somebody that you think, or you have your eye on, that could be that guy, that component, maybe that Will Walsh from a year ago, that you get just that out of the blue performance that is able to keep you around even longer?
Well, yeah, I mean, you passed Sirius McConaughey. It still could be Brockett. It still could be Christo. Clark, like you mentioned. I mean, it could be Will Walsh again. He was someone who was a Sunday guy a month ago and has had good moments. I mean, probably his best pitching moment was last year in the Big Ten tournament against Michigan State when he goes complete game shutout. So probably one of those guys, if you're talking about extended innings and figuring things out in that regard. I still think the back end of the bullpen has another step forward it can take. Jalen Worthley has been good. He could go a couple innings late. Kyle Perry's still a sixth-year guy who when he's on is a difference maker at the back end. Kyle Frelick's been decent. Casey Dice, like a lot of those guys are one-inning guys, but I think, if you talk about all the struggles in the midweek this year and sort of the Sunday uncertainty, like all of that can pay off if you find those guys this week. If so player A is comfortable in this role. Like if you've learned that through all of these struggles in the last couple of months on those games, like that's going to make it worth it. And teams that make runs, whether in the conference tournament or the NCAA tournament, I mean, that's going to happen. You're not able to start your aces or your top guys every time out. I mean, even LSU last year at the College World Series had one of those games where other guys step up. And so that day's coming for Nebraska. They're not going to go undefeated the rest of the way. And there's going to be that moment, whether in an elimination game or a key spot, where they are going to bring in somebody and it's going to be somebody who maybe has potential but hasn't done it in a game. And those are going to be the moments that I think define how far Nebraska goes. And so, again, I think they've kind of figured out some of those roles in recent weeks. If they're able to apply that and it leads to something, then I think fans will probably take what happened if that leads to a deeper run here in the next couple of weeks.
There are some of us that like runs because the chicks dig the long ball, and we'll see what the ballpark plays. Give me one guy or two, Evan, in the 1 through 9 lineup that you think is a good temperature gauge for the next couple of weeks. If they're on, the offense is on.
Caden Brumbaugh, I think at the top would be one when he's been healthy. He's a guy who's getting on base, who has sneaky speed, who really sets the table. I think Josh Overbeek would be another one. They've kind of put him either at the top or the very bottom of the lineup. And if he's a guy who also can steal some bases, has some power, can put the ball in the gap, so he can drive guys in and get on base. It's a really interesting offense, right? Because this isn't last year's offense with Max Anderson and Bryce Matthews who are going long ball. Like this is going to be that offense that sets the table, and they're going to have to get the clutch hits. And like sometimes that feels like an oversimplification, but they do consistently get guys on base through walks or singles or whatever. And it's just a matter of, do you get that big hit? If they hit a home run, like if Tyler Stone goes deep or Ben Columbus does some yard work, like that's going to be a huge indicator that this offense is probably feeling pretty good. But it's just, it's different in the postseason where you're going up against better arms. It's harder to string together maybe 3 hits as opposed to just getting that long ball. So I guess those would be some guys that I would say it's sort of an offense where the sum of it's greater than the sum of its parts, just in terms of its production. So, we'll see. I think Riley Silva is another really interesting one. If he gets on, he really puts pressure on the defense, and Nebraska hasn't had a stolen base threat like him, in 20 years, really. So I guess I would go with those guys. It's all about the clutch hit once they're able to set it up. And I think they will be able to set it up, but can they knock it down?
Before I let you go, just the path, and for anybody who's not familiar with the bracket, it's Indiana and Purdue that are on the corresponding game if Nebraska were to beat Ohio State tomorrow. That's their side of the bracket. Then you got Illinois, Penn State, Michigan, Iowa. Do you like Nebraska's path, given the fact that they haven't played Purdue, they have played Indiana, haven't played Ohio State? As Gary mentioned, only a few teams in the tournament field that they actually played this year. But as far as the way it sets up, are you? Does that seem, I won't say favorable, but a decent path for Nebraska?
Yeah, I think so. First of all, it is quirky that every team that Nebraska didn't play is in the Big Ten tournament. That's odd. So they're going to have to do some extra scouting and things like that. But yeah, I do. I think, Ohio State probably has the least amount of star power of anybody in this field. I'm trying to do kind of like a player to watch from each team, and maybe had to reach a little bit for the Buckeyes. And that's a young program that's kind of building up still. So that's a pretty good draw. I always thought, like, if you were the first or second seed in the tournament, that'd be ideal. Getting Penn State or Ohio State, that to me is kind of that line from contenders to teams maybe that just made it in. And then Indiana, I mean, you know what you're going to see from them. They're going to slug They're going to score runs, but who knows what their pitching situation is going to be like in a second or even a third game. Purdue, to me, still, I don't know that I totally buy what Purdue has been this year, and Illinois probably exposed some of that. So, yeah, I think that is a strong side for Nebraska. And it's, like I mentioned, I mean, their pitching advantage on paper in terms of their starters and depth of pitching is clear. Like it's well ahead of maybe the rest of the field. So I do kind of like where they stand, certainly from a pitching aspect. And if the offense can do a little something and the crowd can help keep them involved, I think they have as good a chance to win and to at least make the finals as anybody.
Should be a lot of fun. Evan, we'll see you tomorrow at the Chuck.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
That's Evan Bland, our good Monday friend from the Omaha World Herald. I think this is the thing with Will. So I want to see more feisty Will. And Will's got to produce. Okay? This has to be a consistent thing.
Yep.
I think Will would like to get Nebraska baseball back to the point of you talk about Nebraska baseball and you don't mention the Big Ten. It's Nebraska baseball, but they play in the Big Ten.
Yep.
He would like to have it as the premier program in the Midwest. Doesn't matter if they're in the Big 12, the Big 10, the Big East, the Missouri Valley Conference, the Summit League, is they are just Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
And if he can get it to that point, he's cooking with peanut oil. He hasn't been able to do it, but the next couple of weeks are, I think, a sign of a good team, not a great team, and they don't go 2 in the queue on either weekend.
Yeah, I think you would chalk that up as success because the way this team is built, let's just say in 2021, I had more confidence, even with the draw that they had in Arkansas, that they could be pesky like they ended up being because they had a balanced, it wasn't necessarily explosive offense because remember, Matthews and Max were freshmen that year, but you had a lot of senior veterans. You had, your Joe Ackers, your Jackson Hallmarks, your Luke Roskams, you had a lot of dudes, Mojo. And so there was experience. There was a little bit of that into that clubhouse. So you could get steady offense. You had solid pitching, as we know, with Cade Povich spearheading that, but even Chance Roach wasn't bad too. You had guys. You had Spencer Schwellenbach, not only offensively, but in the back end. There were just a lot of things you could point to and count on. This team, outside of the starting rotation between Sears and McConaughey, I like where some guys are trending on the mound, but it's even going into this week, it's still been sort of hit and miss there. Offensively, it's been sporadic at times. He had mentioned Brumbaugh, great to have him back from injury. I would even look at Josh Caron as a guy that if he's on, if he's getting multi-hits, that's a good thing for this offense, especially where he's typically batting in the lineup. I think it's also a very good one with Silva. I really like that, especially with what he can do with his speed. Now they have him down in the lineup. There's just different aspects of this team that are interesting, that if it all comes together, you like their ability to win a game, maybe 2 in a regional, but it's hard to just count on that. And I think to what you're saying, not only having that Nebraska baseball program where you're not talking about the Big Ten, but you're looking at a true identity for that team every year where you're saying they got here because of this, and this will get them to a super regional. If they're able to get a super regional, you can point to exactly this. Outside of Sears and McConaughey, which isn't a bad thing, from an identity standpoint, I'm not sure what exactly will get them there. It's not saying they can't, but I can't really put my finger on, oh, you know what? This is starting to look really good. This is how they're going to do it.
Yeah, they almost need to be 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
Almost need to be 2-0.
Yep.
But they also, they have an advantage that nobody else has here. They could essentially be playing home games.
Yeah.
Because the crowds will be good. I mean, the crowds will be good. They need to take advantage of those. And they have at times here. But I think they'll need it even more this year. But here's the thing of Big Ten baseball. How much do we really know about the other 6 teams? Because I'll say we know a little bit more about Iowa.
Yeah.
But that's the thing with Big Ten baseball is we could go to Bricktown and the casual fan could at least mention one player off every team. I don't think you can do that in the Big Ten.
Nope.
That's the rough part of being in this conference.
Yep.
All right. Jacob Bigelow is going to kick off the last hour tomorrow. Nebraska and Ohio State at 2. Again, the weather is a little bit before 4. And you know what happens when the schedule gets backed up.
Mm-hmm.
But at least they've changed the schedule where they're not playing it, or hopefully not playing at 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Yeah. But Nebraska could go 2, 2, and 9 a.m.
Which is I love the opportunity to play Thursday in the afternoon because now you're starting to get later into the week of the Memorial Day weekend where you hoped. But the fact that if they were to go 2-0 and wouldn't play on Friday, and the Saturday game would be at 9 a.m.
Be a good crowd there.
Kind of a bummer. I would like to see that a little bit later.
Nebraska fans will show up in droves. We are saving the Big Ten Conference.
Mm-hmm.
But if Nebraska is 2 in the queue, you won't hear about this tournament.
No.
Tournament will go.
Yep. Like, just get us to Memorial Day and find out where they're playing in the region.
Yep. Jacob Bigelow next on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. The intersection of 108th and L, lots of delays right now. Do avoid, if possible, flashing lights in all directions, as well as a crash that was just reported. Dodge eastbound slowing down near 180th and Dodge westbound slow near 108th. Those should clear up relatively soon. Other than that, the rest of the metro looking pretty good traffic-wise. Just remember to stay safe and wear that seatbelt and have a great rest of your Monday. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Lanahaw Nurseries.
Think spring. Think Lanahaw's Garden Center. We offer the area's most complete selection of landscape supplies and high-quality plant material for your projects. We're your one-stop shop and homegrown headquarters. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lanahaw Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton, Omaha this June for our 12th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let Blur Events take care of all the work so you can enjoy the day. Plus, we're just steps away from Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination.
It's Champions replacement window season, and we're celebrating with buy 2 windows, get 2 free. If your windows are drafty, difficult to operate, or costing you money on your energy bill, it's time to replace them. Champion Windows is here to help. Champion builds our own windows right here in the USA. We make the process easy. We help you choose the best design options for your home. We then build your project in our very own factory. Our install team manages your project every step of the way, and it's all backed by our lifetime guarantee. Turn your house into your dream home with more livable space in a new Champion sunroom, or enhance your curb appeal with new siding, now 30% off. Don't wait, this sale won't last long. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and 30% off sunrooms and siding. Call 877-GO-CHAMPION or visit championsavenow.com to schedule a free in-home estimate today. All discounts apply to our regular prices. Select styles apply. Minimum purchase required. Cannot be combined with other advertised offers. See store or website for details.
Is your concrete cracked or uneven? Hey everyone, Coach Greg McDermott here to explain why you should choose Everlevel Concrete Repair. Many people think they need to replace broken concrete, but repairing it provides durable protection and comes at a fraction of the cost. Everlevel provides permanent repair solutions to fix your concrete and protect it against future damage, and it all comes with a long-term transferable warranty. They offer free inspections to walk you through the entire process. Call Everlevel Concrete Repair today.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started Wesley Financial Group to do one thing, help people get out of their timeshare nightmare. When you buy a timeshare, the timeshare company can raise your annual maintenance fees at will. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Want out of your timeshare? Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right. The kickoff to summer. More cyber trucks will be seen in Omaha. I saw one the other day.
You mean tornado intercepting vehicles or actual cyber trucks?
Cyber
That's
trucks.
what they look like.
Cyber trucks are in Omaha.
It's a thing.
Can you imagine if Jacob
Yes.
Bigelow drove a cyber truck?
Oh, he's probably looking into it. I bet he's looking into it.
He joins us now. Would you be comfortable driving a cyber truck?
Absolutely not. I would. Any judgment that would be thrust upon me for rolling up anywhere into one of those things that looks like it's straight out of a Halo video game. I'm good. I would avoid. I would avoid that at all costs.
What if it says the zone on it?
It does actually. So you say the Halo video game. I'm thinking like the original Mad Max or Beyond Thunderdome.
Tron.
Yeah. It looks like
there's a couple of them
that.
here in Omaha. I saw one the other day. And
I
of
did
course,
too.
everybody paused and they took pictures
sure.
of it.
What
Oh
the
yeah,
hell
because
is that?
because you think there's severe weather because you assume it's one of those vehicles.
Thought the aliens won.
That's what they
I would
look
love,
like.
though, it to get stuck on the rock. I don't know.
Oh, the old Maple
100
Rock?
Yeah. That
Rocco?
would be fantastic.
Didn't they get rid of Rocco?
No.
Oh, Rocco's no, they moved it.
Yes.
That's right. They had to
Yeah.
move it because enough people could not overcome the challenge of Rocco.
Hey, while you're putting up with our shenanigans, Mr. Bigelow, maybe you know the question to this. What is up with Carter Nelson's Twitter handle?
Oh,
I wish I had an answer for that. I don't know.
It's a burner account.
It looks like it should be a burner account when you first look at it, but no, I've not. I was not out at a state track last week, so I did not have the chance to. Wasn't going to ask him about his Twitter handle, but yeah, it is a little out of the ordinary for sure. In the first glance,
So it's at Carter 838-54638. You would think it was his phone number.
Yeah, it's not a phone number,
but it is not his phone number.
There's
So
one
I
too
don't
many
know if there's
numbers.
a backstory behind it. But you're right. Those are the kind of Twitter accounts that you go burner, block, mute.
Even though
Could
it
be
does
muting
have
him.
an avatar, you still would be a little suspicious of this thing. I wonder if it's like I don't know.
There's got to be some
838,000
because it's not a zip code.
No.
I don't know. That's a question that's not been asked. Failure on the media part. Now my next question here, before we talk a little hoops, because you are chomping at the bit to get us off of these topics and talk about Ant-Man and Cat. So the other night, Adrian Martinez is doing Adrian Martinez things in the UFL. And he is third in passing yards in that league. He is the top rusher, and he plays on a really good team, the Birmingham Stallions. He is having fun. He's balling out. He's only 24 years old, which is still wild to believe that he is only 24. Is he in the last decade plus, because I need to include Rex, is Adrian Martinez one of the top 5 most popular ex-Husker football players in the last, I'll go back to Rex, so I'm going to say the last 13, 14 years?
I would say so. Yes, I would think he is. I mean, he's you could tell just by the amount of people that were watching K-State games or were keeping tuned in on K-State football during his run there. The amount of people that have been tuned in with quite the season for him, in the UFL, and you can say what you want about that league. I mean, there's some good players in that league. There have been some good players that have come from it. Made an impact in NFL rosters, these last couple of years as well. So, I would definitely say Adrian still has quite a bit. He's still, I don't know where I'd rank him, but I'd say he's definitely up there in terms of, popular, ex-Huskers of the last decade or so.
Do you think he's put himself in a position that there will be more highlights to this career, that there will be, even bigger and better? Maybe he's getting a roster tryout. Maybe he's getting a chance to get a camp invite somewhere. Like what he's been able to go through this year, putting him into that type of consideration.
It's tough to say for sure, but I mean, I think he'll definitely be. I think he'll be on a roster, at the end of the summer. Whether that be on the practice squad or with some form or fashion, because he's shown the ability to, make big throws, and we know all about his ability to run. He's not like a run first. He's shown that he's not a run first quarterback. He can drop back, get on, or drop back in the shotgun and make a big throw, or even play from under center, play action game. I mean, he's shown he's capable of all of that. I don't know about highlights from here on out, but I think his trajectory for his football career is still definitely trending upward and trending in the right direction.
See, on that list, I think you would include Rex, who is one of the most popular of all time, Amir, Adrian. I'll tell you another guy, Cam Taylor-Britt. So Cam Taylor-Britt was back in Lincoln this week, and he graduated. He is one of the most popular ex-Huskers, so much the fact that he is coming back in July. He's going to do a kids camp at Memorial Stadium.
Nice.
Cam Taylor-Britt, his popularity is through the roof. Man, that is a good dude. All right, let's shift to basketball real quick here. Not real quick because we got things to discuss. Do you think Karl Anthony Towns, who is now going to play more conference finals than Joel Embiid, is better at not being a superstar than he was when we wanted him to be a superstar because of what he was coming out of college? Does that make sense?
I get the gist of what you're saying. Is he better at being like a two, like a sidekick, than he is being like the the go-to? And I think that answer is yes. I mean, there's still some plays even last night where you're like, what the hell are you doing? But it's not. But he's the supporting cast for the Wolves stepped up big time last night, and that was probably the biggest reason why they won the game was the supporting cast. I mean, Cat still. He had a solid game, but, Anthony Edwards was not at his best on the offensive end. But, guys like Jaden McDaniels and, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, those guys stepped up. I mean, it was, it was a total team effort. And I would say, yeah, Cat is best in like that Robin role. I think the buddy cop movie that'll be on Netflix of him and Anthony Edwards at some point, with, those two doing press conferences together is becoming must watch. But yeah, I think he's definitely best in that supporting role.
I'm going to ask you this about Denver because there was a moment in the game there towards it was midway through the fourth, and this was in the middle of Minnesota just pouring it on. It was just a random loose ball goes out of bounds, and if you look at it was at least three, hell, there might have been four on the floor for Denver that they're all doubled over, they're tugging on their shorts, they look gassed. Gary's brought this up before of the amount of games that they played. You go all the way back to last year and now in the postseason. But also I think about the way that Minnesota defends, adding that factor into it. What do you think was more impactful for a team that just looked tired, Denver, there in the end? Was it the long run they had last year, or was it this was that one matchup that they were really pressed so much defensively that also was extremely fatiguing for this team?
I think it was definitely a fatigue factor. I mean, Minnesota, they're quite literally built, to beat that team. Like the GM that helped build that team is now in Minnesota. Chris Finch is from the Malone, tree. I mean, it's a whole, it's intertwined. It's like it was built to, defeat, Denver. And I think the fatigue and how hard Minnesota plays defense. I mean, that was the biggest thing last night. I mean, Ant, walking off the court saying he had Jamal Murray in handcuffs. It's funny, but it's true. I mean, Jamal Murray's fourth quarter was nightmare fuel for any player. But I mean, I think it's definitely the fatigue factor. Denver's also just not a very deep team.
Yep.
There's not very deep. I mean, Jokic played almost every second. I've never really been a big fan of their bench pieces, even when they went out and won it last year. But I think how tough Minnesota plays, how hard they play, and how hard they defend. I mean, that's going to wear you down, especially in a 7-game series.
Timberwolves had 6 in double figures. Denver had 2. And Denver got crushed in second chance points in the second half. Let's shift over to the other one because you have some interest in that. Is Jason Tatum going to be able to overcome the narrative that'll be out there of, man, if you don't get a ring this year, their path in the East and what is ahead if they make it to the final? Are you buying that as a Celtics guy?
I am not, actually.
Figures.
I am not looking forward to the matchup with either team from the West, but especially assuming they get past the Pacers. I think that if the Celtics wound up playing the Timberwolves, I think that would be a pretty bad matchup. The Mavs, it'd be, I don't know. I mean, I need to decide how I feel about the Mavs, but I mean, even the Pacers. I think the Pacers will be a tough matchup. The Boston narratives, the Tatum narratives. I mean, they're going to be out there. They're going to be ever present. I'm sure Adam Silver was punching air yesterday that he wasn't going to get Knicks Celtics Eastern Conference Finals for TV ratings purposes. But I mean, I think it'll be it'll be an interesting series. The Pacers. Part of me is asking how the hell did they get this far? But I mean, when they're on and they've got Halliburton and Siakam 2-man game going, it's pretty entertaining. But I'm not so sure about the narratives around Mr. Tatum and the Boston Celtics.
For your ultimate rooting interest in Boston, who are you rooting for in the Pacers-Knicks game yesterday?
I wasn't really rooting for anyone. I wanted that game to be a better game.
Fair.
I think a Knicks Celtics series would have been really fun. Obviously the Boston New York of it all would have gotten people talking, but I liked watching Jalen Brunson play. It's a shame to see him get hurt yesterday, but it was a toss up for me. I didn't really have any rooting interest.
Let's talk some Nebraska basketball because, of course, it's never done. Are we going to get some portal news this week for Nebraska basketball? Are we going to be learning how to pronounce Berkey's last name?
We might be. I don't know for sure, but that was kind of the talk going into this past weekend was that it was supposedly going to be a quick decision and we'd maybe hear something fairly soon. So I don't know the timeline or the timetable, if he's waiting on a tipped and edit or what he's going to be, what's going to be the hold up on that. But I heard good things about the visit and, sounded like a two school deal between BYU and Nebraska. So we're kind of just in wait and see mode on that front.
I asked you this a while back, and this was before a couple other additions, but from a roster standpoint, and this was probably right around the time that they had added Gavin Griffiths, and I think it was when they also got Connor Season. You're comfortable, if I remember correctly, with this roster where it is. If they don't add anything more, are you comfortable to the fact that they're in a spot that they can be in a similar spot that they were a year ago, at least in the NCAA tournament discussion?
I think so. I think if they add Berkey, that'd be a decent addition. I think that 4 spot, that inside 4-man who can get you some rebounds and play inside out, that's still kind of what's missing from the roster. But I mean, in its current state, I'm fairly comfortable with it. I think you have guys with plenty of. I compared this past year's roster to a mid-major all-star team, and then they went out and got a bunch of guys who played great amounts of power conference basketball. Whether that be in the Big Ten or in the Pac-12. Guys who have high major experience, high major minutes under their belts, and then the bringing back DeJuan Gary and Bryce Williams. I think Bryce Williams, they're hoping he takes a big step for him to be the focal point, him to be the guy. I think they right now it's solid. It's solid. It's obviously they'll be back on campus in a couple weeks and get going with some summer workouts and summer classes and see how it meshes and how it all comes together.
Hey, I know you still want to be a coach someday, which you could still
running
do.
Out of time there.
Which you could still do radio. Give me the vibe from your friends that are in the industry about Doug Gottlieb's hiring.
Flabbergasted, surprised, shocked. What the hell are they doing? It's kind of like a big what the hell, basically. That's a lot. There's a lot of young, up and coming coaches to, that'd be a perfect spot for them to, take the step into, the next big job, or, even at least somebody with even like Wisconsin ties would have made more sense. The Green Bay has, they've shown success. There have been guys who have, started out, in Wisconsin, TJ Otzelberger, Nate Oates, they came up, coaching high school basketball in the state of Wisconsin. That's a big basketball state. And, have a, coach at one of the not, obviously not Wisconsin, not Marquette, but I mean, there's a bunch of solid, mid-majors, in mid-major and lower basketball in that state. And for one of the coaches to be a guy who's still going to be doing a daily radio show and, everything that goes into that whole, mess. I mean, it's almost like I don't want to say it's a middle finger to like young coaches, with ties to the area or, in the state of Wisconsin, but I'm sure, I know there are a lot of people who are not, too happy with it.
All right. Have a great week. I don't know what you're doing for Memorial Day weekend. Maybe you're going to go up to the Twin Cities and drive by the new sign that is right there on 35 when you leave Iowa and you pass, you drive into Minnesota and it says, Minnesota, bring your ass.
That's that officially the state motto. They already get
that is.
I'm sure it.
Hey.
I'm sure it was only a matter of time. But no, I don't have any big weekend plans yet. But I'll be down at baseball.
Hey.
So I'll be.
Let's have a tweet up with Jacob Bigelow.
Oh yeah.
But I'll see. Maybe see you guys at baseball over the next couple days.
Just put on some sunscreen, my man. I've seen your skin.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't be a
bucket hat,
not a bad
sunscreen.
Yeah.
There you go.
Maybe some zinc oxide on the nose.
And get away from this Gen Z thing that's going on right now where they're wearing socks with sandals.
No, I'm not a socks with sandals guy. I'm not doing that. No,
don't ever do that.
That's an epidemic.
No, I've not fallen victim to that yet. Well, I don't plan to. So.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you this weekend.
All right. Sounds good. Have a good week, guys.
That's Jacob Bigelow. PJ Flex got a new video out. It says, Minnesota Golden Gopher, NIL, bring your money. For the state of Minnesota, bring your ass.
Bring your ass.
I like that. Instead of duck,
gray
duck, bring your ass. Yeah.
I like the bring your ass.
Governor Tim Walz, who has a little Nebraska background, is interested in that being the state slogan.
Should be. Bring your ass.
What is the state slogan of Minnesota?
Something about the rivers. The lakes, I mean.
GD Vikings.
Is it still the land of 10,000 lakes?
It is.
But not 10,000 dances.
Might be more now.
I like to call it the land of 10,000 hockey rinks.
Mm-hmm. Well, with every lake that freezes over, you've got a hockey pond.
With global warming.
Well, that's true. We did have a mild summer, and I believe Minnesota was no exception to that.
Star of the North is the
Star of the North, okay.
For the state of Minnesota.
Man, PJ Fleck between the row the boat and then now bring your ass.
Would you guys like a
Dinky
little
Town.
tip?
Is that Dinky Town slogan?
No, Dinky Town. Dinky Town went south when they got rid of Rocky Rococo Pizza. I ate when I was going to school there.
Oh, that's right. I always forget you went there.
Yeah, my first semester in college was at the U of M.
Yeah.
Dude, I ate
you couldn't have a car.
I ate at Rocky Rococo 8 straight days. They gave you a little square pizza.
Good.
Loved it. It was right there in Dinky Town.
Square pizza.
Dinky Town's a little shady now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotten a little shady.
Most good things happen.
But for anybody that's looking to next week, the Kansas City Royals are at Target Field at the beginning of the week. And you know that game 5 will be back up at the Target Center next Thursday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Take the show there.
There'll be a lot of stuff going on then there. Yeah.
Oh, wait, I won't be here. No.
Yeah, I still have never seen a baseball game at Target Field. Never have. I've been to a concert there.
I've been
to
Target.
Still not seen a baseball game at Target Field.
I heard
it's amazing.
It is a beautiful stadium.
That's what I've heard.
Yes.
And it's not that far. I have
But
no
now
excuses.
it's got a team that lives there that has lost 6 in a row.
Yeah. Not that anybody's counting, but that's in the hands of the Cleveland baseball team. By the way,
AL Central, man. How
I
about
did
that?
get I got a City Connect hat coming because I actually like the City Connect hats. Didn't like the uniforms as much. I was hoping they'd do something at Old Municipal Stadium, maybe. And they went with the stripe, it was cool. But the hats, I actually do like the hats. That's one of the very few hats they've had lately that I like.
They're playing well. I texted Shafe the other day, and I'm like, I don't know how you guys are doing it. I mean, no one
without Biebs too.
People don't know who the head coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder is or the manager of the Cleveland Guardians, but somehow, some way, with a C+ roster, they are in first place by a game and a half over the Royals.
I knew Cleveland's manager.
It's very Cleveland too. It's like Josh Naylor. Who the hell's Josh Naylor?
I mean, I know who the Thunder's coach is, but barely.
Who are these effing guys?
If Mark Dagnall was walking down the street in Omaha, do you think people know who he was?
Nope.
No, I think he's like in tech.
He is. Basketball
tech. Yeah.
Like we could make the same about Chris Finch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he'd be easy to spot now because of the leg. But other than that, I mean, if you knew,
Why you gotta be hating on guys that have a limp?
Because he's still winning.
Yeah.
I'm
Did you
not
see
hating.
Kaiser still say?
I think there was hate on the limp.
I'm giving him an applause.
Why don't you like limpness?
My star quarterback dragging his leg
You
around.
already did your mentality read there. We're talking about something else. Never mind. You mean a limp, not yeah. I'm 45. Not getting any younger.
They have drugs for that.
This just
I know.
got deep.
Yeah.
It's going to be a beautiful
Not dark, but deep.
They have 7 and 5 football seasons for that.
That's true.
Mornings with
That
Sharp
helps.
and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. You get a lot of junk in your inbox. This one, not junk. Not junk at all. 1620 The Email. Exclusive content, contests, other stuff probably. Subscribe today at 1620thezone.com. Your Omaha area forecast from a Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Partly sunny and warm for your Monday. Expect highs in the low 80s. Most of the day will remain dry, though can't rule out a stray shower or storm. Better chance for widespread storms overnight with severe potential. That severe threat continues into Tuesday morning. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Success in today's electrical market requires your company to be able to adjust to an ever-changing field. A partnership with IBEW Local 22 gives you that flexibility with access to journeymen, apprentices, proven training programs, marketing assistance, entry into markets not available before, ability to expand and contract with changing market conditions, and a benefits package for you and your employees. Contact Bob at IBEW Local 22 for additional details at 402-980-7596.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste, so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
I love a beautiful lawn, and I have a beautiful lawn, but I didn't always, until I discovered True Green. And now I've got the best looking lawn in the neighborhood thanks to True Green. They manage fertilizer, aeration, weed, and pest control. All you have to do is water and mow. And to top it off, sign up by May 28th and save more than $200 when you bundle lawn care and mosquito. Visit TrueGreen.com for the best lawn at the best price. Guaranteed. That's TrueGreen.com. Restrictions apply.
The world's largest sports book in Las Vegas is available right at your fingertips in Iowa. The Circa Sports Iowa app is sports betting the way it should be. Bet anywhere in Iowa and experience high betting limits, tight money line splits, and exceptional customer service. Download your new bookie today. Visit circasports.com and start betting like a pro from anywhere in Iowa. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-238-7633.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for our 12th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let Blur Events take care of all the work so you can enjoy the day. Plus, we're just steps away from Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Ain't no ice in here.
It is miserable in this studio.
Guys, just need to hang in there.
The curmudgeons that have come after us.
Oh,
boy.
We are almost there. Yeah, we've almost gotten through this. But for
It'll
Josh
be
and Connor and
one
for
pickle juice
John
Monday.
and Josh,
They're going to be doing the show from home. I bet they do the show from home.
I wouldn't blame them.
Yeah, I wouldn't drive up here, Bishop. I'd stay at home.
John, it's hot in here.
It's
hot in here.
On the Vegas boards, Nebraska is the favorite to win the Big Ten baseball tournament this weekend. They're plus 200.
Which is here.
Illinois plus 275. Indiana plus 425. And then the Iowa Hawkeyes are plus 600. If you're wondering about the weather, a friend over at Channel 7, fine graduate of Creighton Prep. He's a big Astros fan, Jimmy.
Good man.
Jake Myers had a big weekend against the Brewers.
They're coming back.
He said the timing for the rain tomorrow, damaging wind, large hail, tornadoes. All modes in play between 11 and 3.
11 and 3 tomorrow? Oh, man.
Yeah. So
that's during the day.
Nebraska's game could be interrupted a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm doing a little doubleheader of baseball. I'm going to check out Nebraska, Ohio State, and then the Storm Chasers are back home. First place Storm Chasers tomorrow night at 6:35 out at Warner Park.
Yeah, I need that game to start on time tomorrow.
Don't look at me.
Either that or I'm just getting the kid out of daycare early.
That's what you should do.
So you'll be listening to the game on the radio.
You and Reese at the ball game.
Hey, we got starting tomorrow. We got day baseball because conference tournaments are beginning. You know,
Yep.
the SEC starts like at 5 in the
fantastic.
morning because they have to deal with weather.
Yep.
Big 12 starts tomorrow. Question here. So after the weekend it was a great sports weekend. We opened the
good.
show. The weather was crappy yesterday, so you got to stay inside and watch 5 screens of activity. Knicks, Pacers played at a pace that was not something the Knicks could keep up with. And oh, by the way, the Pacers shot lights out. You had the golf going on with little wind, soft greens, big scores.
Yes.
The wind,
the way God
the
intended
weather,
it.
the weather dictates everything. Look at, I mean, the post-COVID Masters 20 under won that.
Yeah, DJ.
Whistling Straits, a PGA Championship, there was a 20 under. So the weather is everything. But we had Valhalla. And the some course criticism. It was kind of easy at points.
Good place to get arrested.
We had Omaha softball doing what they were doing and gaining fans. But back to golf. Who gained more popularity over the weekend? Scotty Scheffler, Schauffele, or Bryson DeChambeau?
That's a great question. I'm still going to say.
Why I asked it.
I'm going to say Scotty.
I'm just being honest.
I'm going to say Scotty because he was able to parlay the incident into a good round on Friday. Now, unfortunately, he couldn't. We talked about this earlier in the show. Saturday might have all caught up to him a little bit, but then finished strong.
So I still,
I think the fact that Scotty is now on T-shirts with a mugshot, probably Scotty, and this is what's going to sound crazy. I think Bryson DeChambeau is second because this goes back to a conversation we've had many times about the PGA right now that you do have, and I would consider Xander Schauffele part of that group that is a lot more recognizable here in the last decade than some of the new guys.
I would disagree.
Really? I think he's a name. Well,
you see his name on the leaderboard,
Sure.
but if you don't watch golf, you have no. The guy.
If you don't watch,
the
sure.
guy won a major yesterday wearing a swim shirt.
Did it have a fish and a dolphin on it? Those are cute.
It did look like that's good.
Like
But
bluey.
DeChambeau has always kind of gone beyond just the golf headlines within competition. He's been more of a controversial character, and this has started before he bulked up, with his slow play and his crazy science behind a lot of different methods. So he's always been a talking piece outside of competition. it's amazing how many people I've talked to that have not been big fans of Bryson DeChambeau that are coming around on him. You brought up the YouTube channel, which a buddy of mine was also talking about him. So then, of course, I was kind of needling him. I'm like, hey, your boy, you missed a putt there. But, I think DeChambeau's getting a lot more run because I think he's becoming a little bit more toned down, or a little bit, I don't want to say likable because I still don't like the dude, but he's becoming, like I said earlier, he's less douchey. And so
he was nice to fans. He
that was a great moment.
He wasn't fist bumping with fans. There was I think he was walking from 12 to 13 and they go through a walkway, where they have all the waterfalls.
Yeah.
And he was giving everybody the elbow. So as he's walking by, he wasn't like fist bumping.
The old COVID bow?
Yeah.
Well, what he's doing, in my opinion,
Karl Malone,
and what was just so aggravating with him, he's taking himself less serious and his game more serious when it comes to the science and the different methods. It just seems like he's playing now, which is cool.
I would agree with your rankings.
And then you got Xander Schauffele, who finally won one, but it wasn't like Ricky Fowler finally winning one, who still hasn't.
No, it was Dan Marino.
I like that. I think that's a good comparison, really.
I mean, when you are on the first hole yesterday and you hit a 9-iron 200 yards into the first cut of rough, you're doing something really well. I mean, he went wire to wire.
Yeah, exactly. And Koepka did it in 2019, but that is rare, especially in an event like that. So I would definitely go Scott. Scotty's going to get the headlines because of how good he is, but something like that, my gosh. You got arrested right before you actually got processed and you still made your tee time. And you shot pretty good.
How white collar.
I wonder how many people could say that. Yeah, I got my mug shot about 2 hours ago, and here I am shooting a 65 or whatever the hell he shot on Friday.
I guess one of the people that were in the jail with him has sold their story.
Nice.
About his conversation with Scotty Scheffler.
And it's stretching.
Well, he also said Get Up was on one of the TVs at the jail, and so he was able to see that his tee time got pushed back.
It's just
now, another thing that helps with his popularity, and again, I said this early in the show, he diffused the situation. He also acknowledged that there was a tragedy at the course on Friday.
Right.
So he brought awareness to that first before he addressed his personal situation. Yeah. I mean, it had an impact. Friday was adrenaline. Saturday was reality of, I'm sure, talking to lawyers and on the phone and just going, what in the heck just happened? And then he bounced back yesterday. It was just, Schauffele was running away with DeChambeau and Hovland and everybody else that was at the top of the board. But I would have, if he wasn't so far back, I wonder what Sunday would have been like for him, because he did make a little bit of a partial run. But he had that streak that ended on Saturday of rounds and majors on going under par.
Mm-hmm.
He is one of the most successful, boring people that have played a sport.
You're 100% right. 100% correct, because he's so good, but it's not like you watch his game and there's just one element there like, damn, other than it is as consistent from tee to green that you're going to see.
But he got some swag now, man.
Oh yeah. Now he's got a little bad boy in him.
From jail cell to the first tee.
Now you're, as I mentioned earlier, you're amongst the golf mugshot list.
Probably also did not help on Saturday. He did not have his regular caddy with him.
Well, that'll do it too. I didn't know about that, actually.
Yeah. So his regular caddy graduating. So the graduation, and he had the tour chaplain was on the back for him, who was a popular guy on the tour.
Yeah.
But you're in a major, you would like some familiarity.
Taking somebody,
especially after a day like that.
Yeah.
What's the chaplain saying to you? Welcome back.
He's praying for your soul.
And then his regular caddy was back yesterday, and he played pretty well. Yeah. All right, 38 past the hour.
He's still going to be the odds-on favorite to win. And it won't be close. It shouldn't be. DeChambeau's going to be up there though, because his game has actually been trending. That he was actually a popular pick going into last weekend. There were a lot of people that had DeChambeau on the either look out for him, or even I saw a few people who picked DeChambeau to win. So
I think if this segment has gotten even more.
Yes, it's really, really uncomfortable. It's very miserable. I just go so far as say it's miserable.
Looks like I've pissed myself. That's how much I'm sweating.
I don't even know what that look is. What is the look of when someone looks like they have urinated on themselves?
Well, Nick, it's usually a big wet spot where.
But I mean, is there a facial expression? Is it just one of
acceptance,
failure, or
if you're a
shame?
kid, it's
is there
like,
shame? Is there a dash of shame in there?
Maybe at first.
Maybe a dash of something else.
But you know what? When you're hanging out with your friends and you're tying a few on before a football game, you realize I'm secure enough to know that they're still going to stay my friends, even though I couldn't make the porta potty.
I thought you meant like your facial expression was indicating that you'd pissed yourself.
No, that's called heat stroke.
How about that Ohtani's WAR and batting average right now? Mornings with Sharp and Handley and whatever is going on over there. On 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley.
Prices have never been lower, and the savings have never been bigger. It's the 42 Degrees Memorial Day sales event with new lower pricing on our entire selection of premium Delta. Buy one, get one on select disposables. Plus cannabis and Kratom deals worth celebrating. 42 Degrees, your dispensary for top-tier cannabis, second to none product selection, and exceptional service. 42 Degrees. Buy your mom's house.
When it comes to concrete repair, EverLevel has some serious game. Coach Greg McDermott here to coach you on why you should choose EverLevel Concrete Repair. They've got the fundamentals to fix your cracked and uneven concrete, and their products will give you the best defense against future damage. It's a fraction of the price compared to replacement, and their solutions come with a long-term transferable warranty. Working with EverLevel is a slam dunk. Call EverLevel Concrete Repair today for your free inspection.
Are Nebraska craft beers and ciders important to you? Whether you just love Nebraska brewed beers and ciders or you're a full-fledged craft brewery, there are benefits to membership for anyone with the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild. Their sole mission is to foster and help grow the Nebraska-centric brewing community. Become a member today at nebraska.beer and help advance the craft beer and cider industry in the state of Nebraska. Find out more about the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild at nebraska.beer.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to speak?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 10 minutes a day.
10 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make languages fun and engaging. You might even forget you're learning. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. Babbel teaches language skills you'll actually use. About travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you having real conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are voiced by real native speakers, you'll get pronunciation just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long. And with Babbel, it isn't hard. It's perfect.
Get Babbel. It starts here. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Many people go back to the dealership out of habit or because they think the dealer is the only one who knows how to fix their car. At Omaha Car Care, we offer a better option. We have ASE certified technicians, the technology to service any vehicle, and free loaner cars. The dealer will sell you a package of services. We'll provide the service you want for your car as your trusted partner. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/radio and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
So the Minnesota-Denver game was coming to an end last night. There was a video released by NASCAR. Not somebody taking the video, released by NASCAR. They had a fight last night with this. Their all-star race. Jokic brothers involved? No, but did they get removed after they got into a fight not too long ago?
I had not. Yeah, that's a good question because I had not heard or even seen anything of them since that fight incident. What was that in the game one?
Yeah, they beat that.
Oh, the one
Laker fan.
But the one dude took it.
Yeah,
took it pretty well.
Yeah, I don't know which. I even with liquid courage, I don't know where you would say, you know what, this is a great idea.
Nope.
Let me just run my gums. But last night, Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. got into a little scuffle in the pits. Did you watch the video of this?
Yeah, so when I saw the video of this last night, I honestly thought it was a weigh-in at a upcoming UFC or boxing match because that's how it looks. Especially who's the one wearing the gray T-shirt?
That's Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who is a bad man.
He's rocked up.
Like he's a tough guy. Like I think they had a little dust up.
It's like Charles Oakley back in the day.
They had a little dust up on the track.
Yeah.
And because the way that the track is set up, Stenhouse, who was knocked out after the second lap, couldn't leave.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to stay there. So what I'm thinking is he knew this was coming. And so he went into his trailer, put on the smallest T-shirt possible, did some push-ups and sit-ups,
he looks
and then
big.
Came out and he was ready to fight
and he goes
Kyle
with
Busch.
a right-handed haymaker that was pretty impressive.
There were also his dad was involved in this. But what got me was, I'm waiting for the John Boy breakdown of their discussion because there were fireworks going off.
Mm-hmm.
And so you couldn't hear everything that was being said between the two. And then Stenhouse like cold cocks him.
Yeah.
Stenhouse's dad got involved as well.
And what did he say? Or what was
I don't know. He was
involvement?
throwing knuckles as well.
Oh, okay. That's his dad. That's the part of that. Okay.
But the fact that the NASCAR Twitter account was tweeting this out, they know the role. I mean, you gotta play this well.
Yep. Absolutely, you do.
They know their clientele. Jerry Springer ain't on anymore.
You do have to embrace that though,
because it's about making money.
Absolutely,
they're
it
your
is.
fans.
Yeah.
Oh, because there are a lot of people that don't like Kyle Busch. As much as he tries on TikTok to be human, no, there are a lot of people that don't like Kyle Busch.
Well, I'm a Ricky Stenhouse fan too. He's got the physique that's you gotta make him a bad dude.
Wasn't he once dating Danica Patrick? Weren't they together? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
Was that post Aaron Rodgers? Do we know?
Pre.
Oh, pre Aaron Rodgers.
When she was when she was on the circuit.
Let's see. Danica Patrick and Ricky because you could tell he's in good shape, but he's kind of older-ish, right?
Yeah. He's one of the older drivers.
Okay.
Damn. I never heard this guy till right now, and now I have.
But do you think if there was like back in the day, if Twitter existed when the Knicks and the Heat?
Oh yeah, they were.
Do you think the NBA would send out like video and still shots like NASCAR?
PJ Brown flipping over Chris Childs and Van Gundy's hair everywhere.
I'm gonna that whole Malice in the Palace ruined all of that stuff.
Let's see in slow motion Larry Bird throwing a basketball.
Yeah, Danica Patrick and Ricky Stenhouse. They ended their 5-year relationship in 2017. Yep, you're right.
Then 3 years later, we had COVID.
Well, then she dated Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
I stand corrected.
Yeah,
I don't think the NBA would do that.
That's how it worked.
Well, there are certain events that took place in sports and beyond that probably set things in motion.
Rubbing and racing.
How many people watched Days of Thunder and thought that that's how a normal race though goes, where it's just you naturally go up and you're bumping people off and you're...
7-year-old me started watching.
I love that movie.
Duvall.
Yeah, I absolutely loved that movie.
Just for that,
I didn't like Carrie Elways in that movie though. Carrie Elways was a jerk. Yeah, that's not the type of racing. But then you would because I was young. I mean, that was during when Mellow Yellow was popular. I started watching some races after that.
Drinking.
I started drinking a lot. I started drinking a lot of Busch Light then when I was 10. But then I remember I'd watch some races after that. I'm like, this is nothing like Days of Thunder. This is really slow. It seems like they're going really slow.
There's no soundtrack.
Everyone's kind of politely getting in and out of lanes, and they're all kind of holding their ground. No one's making major moves.
Oh, they don't drive like that.
And if there is a bump, it's like a major deal. And Days of Thunder, like, that's what you did. Yeah. And that kind of ruined NASCAR for me. I realized it's not like Days of Thunder.
So what was more believable to the NASCAR, which I like NASCAR. I was disappointed I could not do fantasy yesterday because they locked it for the All-Star race.
No.
So we'll be back for Charlotte next weekend.
I love that you do fantasy NASCAR.
Dude, I am killing it in fantasy NASCAR.
NASCAR's big deal in Charlotte.
I'm in the national competition. I am in like the top 14%.
So how do you draft and like what goes into having
you have five drivers, you have one
okay.
for your garage. You can only during cycles you can only use a driver 10 times.
Okay.
But then you have matchups you have 3 different matchups between drivers. It used to be you had to pick will this be a Ford weekend? Will this be a Toyota weekend?
Oh, okay.
But they got rid of that.
I thought it was gonna be like a win play show.
So you would, if you were trying to figure out how this whole auto racing works, you would go Days of Thunder over Talladega Nights is more believable about what happens on the track.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to assume someone
or
out
even the love bug.
Somebody. There's a good pull there. Somebody out of your pit. Can we even throw in Cars? Because Cars is pretty damn good with Lightning McQueen. But can you go
great announcing the second one
to the idea of a lot of the lingo on the track in Talladega Nights is pretty damn good. But I'm also going to assume that someone out of your pit crew is not going to finish a race for somebody because the other guy went to go get a chicken sandwich and then he ends up being the guy. So I feel like maybe Days of Thunder, even though it Hollywoodified the competition, probably has a little bit more accuracy.
As this show ends today in discussion about auto racing, I really don't think when you talk about the growth of auto racing, now they talk about, Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't even a NASCAR guy, but I remember that when that happened.
Allison, Jarrett, all the greats, Yarborough.
Waltrip.
Really, nobody has done more for racing than Burt Reynolds. Rest in peace. If you think about like Smokey and the Bandit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Okay. What about Hooper?
What about Cannonball Run?
Cannonball Run. Cannonball Run. And Cannonball Run too.
Or Stroker Ace, where he actually was a NASCAR driver.
I don't think I ever saw that.
Do you think?
How old was that?
That was early 80s.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I ever saw that one.
Yeah. He might, you think about, we make fun of Adam Sandler having all these friends that are in movies.
Yeah.
Think about every Burt Reynolds movie seemed to have Ned Beatty, Lonnie Anderson, and Jim Neighbors.
Yeah. Did Dom DeLuise ever make it outside of the Cannonball Run, though?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that was just that was an exclusive.
He might have been in Hooper.
Was it? Okay, I'm trying
Terry
to remember.
Bradshaw was in Hooper.
Yeah. Dom DeLuise was, he was a
Dom
mainstay
DeLuise
in the Cannonball
you
Run.
21 and 13 a night. A great defense and just.
There's an
great
entire
leader.
generation that doesn't know the greatness of acting that was Dom DeLuise.
I mean, he was like Arvidas Sabonis before he hurt his knees.
Yeah. That's a good comparison.
Wow.
That on the.
I'm gonna think about that one on the drive home today. Yes.
In the air conditioning.
John says I am a fan of anyone that will kick the crap out of Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch on social media on TikTok, he does some stuff with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
He's like partially likable.
Is he trying too hard though? Is it fake? Does it seem authentic?
They've leaned all in. So Kyle Busch used to have maybe he still does. He used to have a reality show where they followed his family around.
Oh, well,
but I know that he's not one of the more well-liked drivers. They got the kicked out of him last night. Then the old man Stenhouse came and started giving him the business.
Yeah,
came in through the flag, and they said 15 yards for he's down there giving him the business.
That was an impressive haymaker that he threw too. But yeah, he looked like he was in good shape. Was you'll remember this better as far as the rivalries go. I know Jeff Gordon. He rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. There were a lot of people, but I didn't know if it was just it was haters because he was so successful or because he was borderline dirty.
Yeah.
Well, he was kind of a pretty boy.
Him and Clint Boyer got into a huge fight 10, 12 years ago.
Was it physical or was it? Because I remember some verbal spats that involved Jeff Gordon. Did he ever get in a physical throwdown?
A series of your mom jokes.
Well, it ended up in a brawl between his two teams.
Okay. But was he throwing any punches?
Yeah, he got in there.
So Gordon was? Okay.
Yeah, it was like in Phoenix.
Okay. Because I always remember there would always be altercations, or it seemed like there was an altercation every year or two, but it would always be more verbal, and then it always seemed like, he's not going to actually get physical with anybody.
Keselowski got into a fight on pit road.
Now Keselowski was another guy that was a bit of a target too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's the extent of my my NASCAR rivalries. I hear names. I know that they've been involved in fights. I don't know how physical they've gotten.
Like the Sharks and the Jets.
Yes.
But I would feel that there would be a lot more of those.
And maybe that's what
these guys are rugged.
That's
They're
why
rugged.
they posted the video.
A lot of adrenaline going there.
Exactly. I don't blame them.
This is from a question I asked earlier. Listener chimes into the Equitable Bank inbox. Yes, it's true. Jason Derulo does mention his name every 10 seconds in every song that he sings.
Every 10
because
seconds?
I couldn't look at video of
Jason
Jason Derulo in town to support his Supernovas this past weekend and go, Jason Derulo.
Yeah. Jason Derulo.
Could be early onset Alzheimer's.
Do you think when people were coming up to get a picture with him, that's the first they sang his name?
I hope so, yeah. Jason Derulo. I'm sure he gets it all the time. Has anybody asked the question, though, why he does that?
It's great branding.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, who is this
But at
guy?
some point, to say, I'm so big, I don't need to introduce myself.
People are coming up to him and saying, hey, can I get a picture? Thank God you're not Diddy. Bad weekend. Bad apology. Bad.
Blame the heat.
Southwest Florida Dave, who I think is a fan of Gordon's.
All right, Dave.
Said people didn't like him because he was a Yankee.
Ah, yes.
I do remember hearing that.
Just like people are pissed that Soto will probably spend the rest of his career in the Bronx. They won 7 in a row, by the way. All right. We tomorrow will have a lot on what Nebraska is going to do in the Big Ten tournament. They will take on Ohio State. That is tomorrow here in Omaha. And who else knows? We got a game 7 tonight. The Oilers and the Canucks.
The way it should be.
So enjoy that and enjoy the rest of your day. We're going to get out of the studio because it is currently 91 degrees in studio. The crossover with Josh and Connor talking to each other. Well, we all go and sit in the ice bath.
We probably need a medic.
Yeah. For all of our great guests, Evan Bland, Jacob Bigelow, for Jimmy, for Nick, I'm Gary. We're back in tomorrow at 6 with another edition of Mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone.